You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast. It's the podcast that talks about movies, TV shows, video games and board games. I'm your host Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man. And welcome. This week's episode, you guys are going to be in for a treat today. We're going to do 2 top 5s in this episode, and they will be based on top 5 heroes from superhero movies and comics and TV, as well as top 5 villains from, again, movies, comic books, TV shows. And who's to better have on this episode than none other than 2 guys, the comic book gurus that I had on from season 1, the legends of podcasting. Stuart and Ross, how are you guys?
Great, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much again, Anthony, for having me back.
Thanks for coming back, Stu. You're becoming a regular now, really, aren't you, mate?
I've got to get asked for commission soon. That's what I got.
Ross, welcome back.
Yeah, nice to be here.
So do you guys want to have a quick plug-in for your podcast?
Yeah, sure. So myself and Ross are part of the Legends of Podcasting. We have a YouTube channel set up that does reactions to all things superhero related, including like the CW shows, anything Marvel related. Currently doing the Harley Quinn show and Stargirl, and we also do movie reviews as well. So come check us out, Legends of Podcasting. We've got a website, we've got a YouTube channel, we've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything you can think of. We are there, so come and follow the legends and come and join us.
That was really good.
I've been practicing.
Let's just say you worked on that one.
He says it every night.
I say it every night. We recorded last night
for the episode.
Yeah, the like filler at the end that we do every episode that no one listens to. I've got it stuck in my head now. I wake up sometimes saying it.
That's really good. So yeah, a double top 5, guys. Are you going to be ready for this?
It's so tough, man. It's bad enough just doing like Marvel or DC, and then you went just everything. I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, yeah, so guys, before we start, the original idea for this episode was literally just the DC Universe top 5 heroes and villains, but then I kind of thought we're going to clash a few times on the top 5, so I kind of threw these guys into a bit of a dilemma 48 hours before the episode, saying, we're going to throw Marvel in now as well, so yeah. There is going to be a little twist to this, because I know people are going to be listening to this now and going, well, this is all comic book stuff, it's got nothing to do with movies or TV or whatnot, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get these guys to do their top 5s, and then we're going to ask their opinion if they have appeared on a movie or TV series. We will ask what they thought about them, or what they thought about the other actors that played them also, and if they made it well enough to be on the film. Like we can't mention Mandarin, for example.
Yep, okay.
Not in one's top 5?
It's my number one.
Right, so would you guys like to do heroes or villains first?
Let's do the villains.
Let's do the villains first. So just another rule with the top 5. If anyone has the same, Stu, you've done this before, whether we clash with one another, we'll just join in and go with it, yeah?
Cool.
Sounds good.
It's time for a top 5.
So who would like to go first? Ross?
I can go first if you like.
Oh, you go first then, sir.
So my number 5, I've actually got 3 for 5.
For 5? What, a split decision already? Wow.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to go with just one, and it's going to be Scarecrow.
Okay. Can we hear the other 2? What
the other 2 were Vandal Savage.
Okay.
And Darkseid.
Oh.
Darkseid is low.
Oh, see, I kind of had him on there as well at 5, but I kind of took him out as well.
Yeah, I think I'll go for Scarecrow, just because, like, Darkseid, he's sort of like, whenever he turns up, you have to get like the whole league involved. Yeah. That's why he was quite high up on my list, because it's like, if he turns up, shit's going down. It's a big major. It's normally a pretty good story if he's involved. But the thing I like about Scarecrow is he's not a physical villain really at all. He doesn't fight Batman when he's fighting him. It's all in his head, because he uses his toxic gas.
Yeah, of course.
But Batman always tries to find a way to counteract the gas or the toxin whenever he comes across it. But then Scarecrow for a cute a cute level in there where he's like,
Stu's like shaking his head. Like,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just burping off mic. Sorry.
and like he keeps him guessing because he keeps changing the formula to get Batman guessing. But I really like that.
More potent fear toxin.
Yeah, you take most of Batman's villains and they're sort of mainly physical. There's a couple that are like they don't fight him, but I just like him working against his mind and
I agree.
being a bit.
He just fell short on my one.
Oh really?
I fell in love with him in people who've listened to me, Batman the Animated Series. Can't think I've ever mentioned that before. But in an
episode or two.
Is this a new show? Is it?
yeah, hopefully soon. It might be a comeback. But no, in that series, I sort of fell in love with him there about how it works, and then they obviously incorporated into the Nolan universe, which I thought was a pretty good version of him, I have to say.
Yeah.
And there's been some great storylines with him, and then in the Arkham games as well, some of the best bits.
Oh yeah.
I think that's got to be my favourite version of
Yeah.
Scarecrow is the Arkham game version. I really do.
Especially the first time it looks like your TV's broken.
Yeah,
You're like, what's
man.
going on here?
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh
absolutely.
no, wait a minute.
And the syringes on his fingers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it's
man,
quite
that
clever
is
way,
just chilling.
clever way to do it, isn't it? Because it actually injects it rather than the sort of gas that he usually uses.
That's right. Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's a scary look. I think there was another version of him in like the Arkham Knight game, which was still scary, but he was more of a standing there talking kind of thing rather than being part of the game.
Because that's how the game sort of started, wasn't it? He brought panic in Gotham. That's why everyone's left. Yeah. But like in the Arkham games as well, it sort of goes into more of a kind of a platformy type of game, doesn't it? Where Batman goes quite small on the screen, and you have to try and avoid the massive scarecrow that is like gazing at you and stuff.
Yeah, that was so good, that part when you have to hide behind him so he doesn't see you in the light or anything like that.
I think that's why he's so high on my list, just because of those games as well. I think they did him really well in that.
There's a meme that someone's done on YouTube of Scarecrow where they've dubbed over his voice, and every time I think of Scarecrow, I think of that now. I was like, "Come here, Batman, come get me!" Oh fucking shit! That's why I love it.
The Harley Quinn animated show they've got him as like a Cockney, which is cracks.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's hilarious in that. And then there's probably one of my favourite memes ever. Me and Russell send this to each other regularly. It's like the Wizard of Oz scene of them all galloping down the yellow brick road, and then you just have Batman jumping out and punching the shit out of the Scarecrow.
No way! Oh, they threw my legs.
I
I
punched the
over
Scarecrow,
there.
and he's just like, oh,
That's amazing.
what I have to say.
That's so awesome. Yeah. So, what is your favourite version of Scarecrow?
Oh.
And do you like? Is it Cillian Murphy or Cillian Murphy? How do you pronounce it?
Oh, what from
from Begins and Rises.
I think. I mean, it was quite interesting, his take. I really like the feature where, because I don't think they ever did it in the comics, where the reason why he wears the mask is it then has like the breathing apparatus inside it, so when the gas is out, he's quite he's safe, which I really like. I mean, I think it's got to be between the game version or the animated series version where he was not the New Adventures where they changed his design.
Okay,
and he looked really butch and it looked a bit weird. But I kind of like the scrawny looking one.
Yeah, like the red top.
Scythe and the pointy hat. I think that's probably. But the movie version was pretty good for what it was. I think he was probably the strongest part in Begins for me.
He was just a shame he was very side character
Yeah.
in those movies.
He was like a minion rather than a supervillain, wasn't he?
It's like I wish the Batman Begins was for him, and the whole Ra's al Ghul thing was just they were the side.
He was the one that put the fear gas in the narrows.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
stuff.
it makes more sense that Scarecrow did it really, but yeah.
I mean, it'd be quite good if they'd have done it where Scarecrow was the main villain, but at the very end you found out maybe he was working with Ra's, and then they tie him into the second one.
Yeah,
rather than that would have been quite good.
Rather just the short cameos every now and then. That he actually was involved in it a bit more than just.
And then he was in a little bit in Rises as well, wasn't he? Because he was in the court.
Yeah, he was like the judge or something, didn't he?
Yeah, that was.
I think that was meant to. I swear I read somewhere that was meant to be Joker originally, but obviously because of Heath Ledger's passing, they had to get someone else in.
That makes sense. Yeah,
but yeah, that was awesome.
We'll put someone else deranged in there.
Yes, well, some other psychopath. Excellent.
So that's a good choice. There.
Yeah.
Did you want to?
Yeah, okay, I can go.
Yeah.
So I had two as well, but we'll go. The one that I think is going to talk about more is Brainiac.
Oh, okay.
He's
my number 3, so I'll join you on this one.
Yeah. So I mean, I think when did I first find out about? I guess Superman the animated series is when he came into it first of all, and then he was in Justice League. But the thing that sort of got me the most is when I was reading the comics. There's a comic book called it's called the movie's called Unbound. I can't remember what the comic book's called now, but it's basically the origin of Brainiac and who he actually is and everything. So there's like two versions of it. So there's one is he was the computer on Krypton, and he realised that the whole planet was going to blow up. So he took all the knowledge, flew off into space, and then he's been going around planet by planet, taking the like lead city of each planet, and keeping it and taking the knowledge and blowing up the planet. So he has the last surviving knowledge of each species. And there's another one where he's actually from another planet called Russ. What's the name of it?
Kulu.
Thank you. I was going cool. No, that's all right. Kulu, where they're actually a species of like androids, and he again goes off and starts taking the same story.
He just wants more knowledge.
Yeah. He wants to basically take all the knowledge and then destroy the source of the knowledge. So he's the only one that's got it. And I mean, something that we've never seen in a Superman film yet, but we saw in this animated movie Unbound, is Superman going to town on like 100 Brainiac robots. Which if Henry Cavill's coming back, I want Brainiac as the bad guy.
Yeah.
And just have 100 Brainiac drones and him punching through them.
Isn't in another one, I think it's like an Aquaman feature when he goes, Brainiac comes into it and there's other robots in there or something? Throne of Atlantis or something? Or am I thinking something else?
There's the trench people and that. There's a movie where it's about Brainiac, and they've done a couple with the animated series where he's seen, but I've never seen a live action one of him just destroying.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah.
And then we had the TV show Krypton, which had him in it as well, which was
as close as we're going to get to it.
It was just astounding. I was like,
just seeing that ship coming into
his massive skull ship.
Oh, it was amazing.
Just the look of him as well was just
spot on. Wasn't it?
He's absolutely spot on, and some of the dialogue he comes up with is just straight out of the comic book as well. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get into Brainiac until Smallville sort of showed him.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't do it justice in Smallville, but that's how I knew of Brainiac, and then got to learn about the character a bit more.
Spike from Buffy was
his
name?
Something Masters. I just think of Spike.
It's just Spike. James Masters.
James Masters.
James Master.
James Masters.
And then obviously you've mentioned Krypton and whatnot, and then when he was in Injustice 2, good God, that's just like the best version of Injustice of Brainiac we're ever going to get. Really, I was just so gutted because apparently the second Brandon Routh film they were going to do was going to have Brainiac in it, and then they just got rid of it completely because it flopped, didn't it? Which was a return. Sorry,
in the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game that's coming out by Rocksteady, he looks like in the trailer he's invaded Metropolis and taken over. Looks like Superman and a few others, so it looks like you're going to be able to fight him in that game as well, which would be really cool.
Can't wait for that game.
But he's even in DC Universe Online, he's like the big bad in that as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the one that turns up after they defeated each other and there's no heroes left.
Yeah,
and then he brings all the exobites in, and that's where everyone gets spread and gets powers.
You can just do so much with him as a character, and there's some great stories out there. And I mean, one of my favourite artists, Gary Frank, usually draws him, and just the way he's drawn, so good. He just looks so menacing.
Do you think they don't do enough justice with him as a character? Do you think they should do more with him, or?
I don't know. I think it's different because he's an android / sort of this sort of cyborg race kind of thing. There's not a lot of sort of character development you can do. He's literally just the evil version of him is literally just a guy who wants to go around and just take all this knowledge and kill everyone in the way. There is in the future in the League of Superheroes comic books, there's his descendant, which is Brainiac 5, who's like a part of the Legion of Superheroes, and he's actually a good guy. Yeah, and that bit's really cool because it sort of tells you about his ancestor and all this kind of thing, which is a really good sort of cool story. But yeah, the actual villain part, Brainiac, I don't know if you can. He's just a great one to tell a story of Brainiac's here. We need to get our shit together and just beat him. Yeah, which is I think the way you do it's great.
Would you like to see him in the DC universe at some point?
Hell yeah! I mean, I want to see Henry Cavill beat the shit out of a shitload of Brainiac henchmen, or even if they do another Justice League movie and have the Justice League take him down, that would be awesome, so actually, good. Yeah. Just to vision. I mean, I guess comparison to Age of Ultron, like the Avengers beating up loads of robots, it's like that, but on a bigger scale.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
You never see Superman Unleashed, do you?
This is it.
Yeah, because he could kill someone, but they're robots, so it doesn't matter. So
I don't know. Does the dream sequence in Dawn of Justice count?
Unleash. Just punches him through the chest.
But no, he eye lasers the other dudes as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean,
not full out like super saves sort of thing, but what was I going to say? No, it's going to bug me now. I'll come back to it. What is your favourite version of him then?
Ooh.
Whether it's the game, the TV series, the book?
Probably the comic book. I can't remember the name of this comic book. It's one of my favourite comic books. But the animated movie they based it off, Unbound, is a really good version of it, and probably Krypton is the other one. Those two are probably my favourites.
That's what I was going to ask you. That's what I was going to say to you. You're going back to what you're saying about Superman unleashing and beating up all these robots, whatnot.
Yeah.
So will it be another movie where Batman just sits aside and lets all the other,
He can
other
throw,
Justice League do it
He
again?
can throw like exploding.
He's done it twice now.
He can throw exploding batarangs, on him maybe.
Speeding behind it.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Or
I'd feel like Batman would go to the heart of either the ship or something and try and break him out from the inside.
Yeah, that make more sense, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You got like Superman's outside being the distraction, or the whole of the league, and then Bruce is
infiltrating.
Inside.
Yeah, like he does in Apocalypse, just the Batman Superman Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And he goes and faces Darkseid while the rest of them are distracted.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he puts all the bombs down. And he's like,
Yeah, he goes.
Your move.
Yeah, he's like, I've outplayed Darkseid. Fuck you. Yeah, but no, yeah. So he's my number 5.
Brainiac, good choice. My number 3. So you pretty much said, well, I was going to go into it. So thank you, you've done my job for it. So my number 5 is 2. I was going to put down. I've obviously put it down to 1. I was going to put Doctor Doom down.
Nice.
Purely for, the name alone is quite, as well as I didn't think it was bad in the movie, the first one anyway. The look of him anyway was it wasn't too bad. But I actually scrapped it off in the end and put Omega Red on there instead.
Ooh, nice.
Omega Red is one of those characters I feel like was definitely underused a lot.
Oh yeah.
We don't see much of him nowadays, really, do we? To be honest,
No.
Has he been in the movie? He's been in.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't been in the
No,
movie.
he's
He was in the animated, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be in the cartoon.
He should have been in one of the Wolverine movies.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I think that's what I was kind of waiting for in that film. But no, we got Blob instead. And did you just call me Blob?
No.
Will I am?
Oh my god! Don't get me started on that. But no, we got him in a few video games, and I think one of my favorite X-Men front covers is with him on it. With him versus Wolverine issue 5,
Jim
the
Lee one. Yeah.
I remember getting that comic book handed to me at Word's End, funny enough. And he was like, here's issue 5. But I was like, I've not even read 1, 2, 3 or 4 yet. And he goes, well, here you go. Here's the rest of them as well. But this one had never been opened, the number 5.
Nice.
And I still haven't opened it to this day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But just as a character, he's so friggin' awesome. And
he's basically Russia. Is it Russia? Yeah, Russia's.
He's a Russian weapon, isn't he?
Russia's answer to Wolverine.
That's right. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
They sort of said,
Weapon X.
they're developing some super soldier like killing machines. Well, we could do that as well.
They should have got Ryan Reynolds to do Omega Red.
It would totally work.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he would. But yeah, his big hulking like sort of white skin with like long blonde hair, and then he's got these tentacles.
Yeah.
Which I think they must be made of adamantium as well, because whenever I've seen comic books or shows where they're fighting, he can't
But
cut
didn't he
through
have
them.
like a thing where he could absorb their energy or something when he whipped them round, or it was something to do with that,
Yes,
or he can put them into some sort of shock or something.
I think that was in the animated series when he's fighting Colossus.
Is
or
it from
something.
that? I can't remember. Yeah, but yeah, I just always thought he was a more worthy opponent to Wolverine than like someone like Sabretooth was, for example. And he just. Again, I wish I could see more of him. And
he's got quite a unique look as well, isn't he? When you see
him,
it's
that's
like
the
nobody
thing.
else looks like him. So yeah.
So I think I'd have to go with the animated series version of it. I mean, that was like a 2-part that episode as well, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Yes, yeah. It was great. It was a great episode. I mean, maybe one day, like when they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU, you could kind of bring him in somehow.
Just like a little hint, just like a oh look, oh my god, there's a symbol. There's a Mega Red symbol.
Or even if he's just cryostasis, like in some Russian lab they're walking through, and he's just there. And
Exactly.
Like, holy shit, it's Mega Red.
Just something, just to acknowledge he's part of the universe.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be like when Hulk said "smash" for the first time in Incredible Hulk. My dick got so hard, it was unreal. So yeah, that's my number 5. So Ross, number 4.
Number 4 for me is Doomsday.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
Yeah. Which is my number 1. So we'll go into it.
Yeah, I think he's so, because The Death of Superman was the second comic book I ever read.
Okay,
so for me, it's like I feel like that got me into comics so much, that whole series. And when they killed Superman, spoilers.
It's called The Death of Superman. I would hope people would know what's going to happen. Wait, what? He died? What the fuck's going on here?
when did this happen?
I didn't see this coming.
It was 1994.
Like I felt like comics, they kind of like they died with him a little bit. I felt like they weren't as good. Every comic book they always had a red, a black band, didn't they, with the Superman logo on it, all the heroes to represent that he died. And I felt like when you read all the comics after that, they just didn't. They were missing something, and because of that,
Superman.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's like a year and a half before they brought him back as well.
Yeah,
it was a lot. It was like in
and then they brought
comic
him
book
back
talk
with the
it was
red
a long
and blue electric powers, wasn't it?
White and blue.
White and blue.
Yeah.
And the red and blue is one as well. Do you remember there was like two of them? Do you remember?
I remember he got his, because he tried to super jump his powers, and he had the white and blue electrical powers, and I can't even remember how he got rid of them, but he got them, went back to normal after that.
But we did have the funeral, didn't we?
Yes.
For Superman, and then
I still get teary eyed in Justice League
really?
when he dies. Well, no, it's not when he dies from Doomsday, but it's when Toyman hits him with the gun, and he's like, "Superman, go bye bye," and everyone thinks he's dead, and they do the funeral just like it was. I was like, oh, man,
he's sent to the future with Vandal Savage.
Yeah. But yeah, I just feel like he's got to be up on that list for just being so powerful and menacing. You know, like the amount of people that he killed when he landed on Earth, and it was like some suburbs, wasn't it? And he destroyed a house, and there was a child and his baby, and then his mum, a son, and then a younger son, and he's like trying to find them in the wreckage, and you just see this, because he's all bound and everything at the start, and he's just got this fist.
He's literally got one arm bound behind his back,
he's
hasn't he?
Slicing at people, and then I got some really weird Justice League characters turn up, don't they? Like real
Justice League of America, wasn't it?
C-listers turn up, and they try and have a go, and he just turns them to
He
mush.
beats the shit out of them with one hand as well. It's like, good fucking God. I never forget reading this, and there was the part where they all kind of band together, and they all use their lasers, their powers to blow him up. Yeah. And then they think there was this massive explosion, obviously happens, but then you think, oh yeah, he's down, he's dead. No, everything's come off, and you actually get to see him, face front and whatnot, full reveal. And it's like, holy fuck, this dude is incredible.
Because the other thing as well, before the main comic came out, they had it was like the end panel of like the Superman comics through like a few months. It was just like
him punching through the earth.
That's right. It was literally punching to get out of the cell, wasn't it?
And you're like, what the hell is this? And then like and then you just see an arm, and then when you see him revealed and all the bones sticking out, and he's just like, okay, this guy looks pretty scary. And then like when he's going toe to toe with Superman in downtown, and they're just taking punches. Oh my God, it's so good, man.
I remember the first time he gets out of that cell, whatever it is he's in, and he's bound, one hand, and he puts his hand out, and this bird lands on his hand, doesn't it? And he just crushes it straight away. I was like, holy shit, this dude means business.
Well, in fact, you get all that comic book and all that amazing story, and you have no idea what or who he is. And they brought out another comic book later on to tell you what he actually is. When I was reading that, I was like, Jesus.
And I never knew that existed until you told me about that.
Really,
I had to go back and buy it, and I'm like, holy crap, because I freaking love that dude.
A Krypton experiment to make the ultimate weapon.
No, I think they're going same with that with the Krypton show.
Yes.
They did such a great job of that, where he's...
They highlighted, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's a funny thing is in that version, it's the Kal-El scientist is the one that's pushing it, not the Zod one. And like you just see him in that cell, and they're just hitting him with every type of...
Killing him every single way possible until he evolves into this monster.
Yeah, in the book, it's like hundreds of years until he eventually has like no...
Yeah. Basically, every time he dies, he can't die from that again.
That's right, yeah.
So he keeps regenerating. So they keep throwing him into as many different things as possible. And then they get to a point... it's been a while since I read the comic. Something like they get to a point where they can't stop him, so they seal him up and they send him into space. We're like, well, someone else can deal with that shit. Yeah. And he just lands on Earth. He's like, yeah, we went too far with that. Just ship that off.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just like,
it's somebody else's problem now.
Yeah, I was like, so they'll probably kill someone else on another planet. It's fine.
Mind you, I could see our race sort of doing that sort of thing, really. we create the ultimate weapon, like, fuck it, someone else's issue
send
now.
it into space.
Under the rug.
Exactly, under the air rug.
Yeah, throw it out there. Yeah, but no, just looking at him, he looks so menacing.
Yeah, I mean, I never really was happy with the ending of Death of Superman, like as in like how Superman defeats him. I mean, he just double knuckles him, really, so you can't tell if he kills him or knocks him out, really. I can't remember.
Yeah. I think his body is sort of like limp and dead, isn't it? When they're looking at him, when they're both lying there in the street. So I'm guessing, it's a bit weird that they both hit each other at exactly the same time.
I mean, I remember Superman learning a weakness. He cracks his bones. Yeah, he keeps that stick out the elbow and whatnot.
Yeah, because they connect all the way to his actual skeleton.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, I'm the same with you. That book was probably like the second, third, or fourth book. I remember.
I'm guessing the writers wrote themselves into a corner and was like, "Shit, how is he going to kill him? We have no idea."
Yeah,
just punch him really hard. There we go.
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember there being a ginger Lex Luthor in that book.
Yes, because he kills himself at the start.
That's right.
And then he pretends that he's his son, Alexander, and he has like plastic surgery and stuff, and he's got an Australian accent with the thing, and then he's got the Matrix Supergirl that's his like sidekick.
Who Doomsday kills as well.
Yeah, he just splats them.
Absolutely, one punch splats. I mean, just, my God, what is there? He's like the ultimate evil. For me anyway, in a comic book, I can't think of anyone else that could top it. In my opinion,
he's got
obviously you guys have.
Yeah, he's got no master plan of like wanting to be world domination or anything.
Yeah.
He just wants to kill
everything. Unstoppable
everything.
force, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not even sent to Superman. He just keeps going until he finds something that's going to stop him.
The crossover I want to see is him against Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut, bitch. What, him versus Vinny? Or
Jesus.
But I remember when you go back to talk about Krypton shows, Stuart. When they had Zod, they had Brainiac. And then they threw in Doomsday as well. I was like, holy fuck.
When we started...
These guys are in trouble. There's no Superman either.
First show we reacted to, we were like, Krypton sounds like a good one. We were all like big Superman fans. That'd be cool. And we know like Brainiac was showing up. Says, Brainiac's going to be wicked. That'd be great. And then suddenly he was like, I'm sorry, what? Wait, Doomsday's in it? And I was like, what? Zod's in it? What the fuck is going on? Like they bring all these A-listers. Yeah, all these A-listers in. It's crazy.
There's not even a yellow sun.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good choice. Damn good choice.
But I also like when he's in the animated series throughout the years, and like you've got the Justice Lords turn up from the other Earth, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to sort this Earth out because you lot of the Justice League are weak." And then Doomsday just lands in front of Superman, and he just like burns straight through.
Lobotomizes him.
Yeah.
And then like all the crowd like, well, yeah, I think he should have done that.
He'll wake up. He'll wake up.
He's okay. He didn't kill him. It's because he shows up again when he's like in there's a volcano island or something.
Yeah,
and Superman and Doomsday are fighting in the volcano.
Amanda Waller's got him and stuff. And they're like they've been sort of brainwashing him as well, haven't they?
Yes. And then we've had two movies of the death of Superman. So the first one, and they brought another one recently.
Yeah, which was
I don't think it's that bad a movie though.
The first one,
the second one.
The second one, I enjoyed the second one. I say it was quite the bits they changed. I actually.
Yeah, I thought
prefer it
with Lois at the end was much better.
Yeah, with even the return, the reign of Superman, where it's actually Cyborg Superman's being controlled by Darkseid. I actually quite like that twist as well. That was really cool.
Because he's working with Mongol in the original, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. Which if they brought in that would have been really confusing. Yeah, the only other thing we haven't touched on is like the BVS version of him.
Oh yeah.
So there's that as well. I mean, I've got a theory on this, right? So I've watched BVS a lot because I love that film, and there's a part of it when Lex tries to create him, where it says something. The computer in Kal-El's ship, like the ship that's crashed in Metropolis, says something along the lines of, "We will never make another abomination like that."
That's right. We've made many before, and we don't want to do it again or something.
So I don't think what was in BVS was Doomsday. I think it was a version of him. But the real Doomsday was like when they say, "We will never make another abomination like that again."
Yeah.
That's Doomsday.
Yeah, because
that's just help making me. Yeah, exactly. So that's making me feel better about what he looked like. But I mean, as he went on and evolved, because that's the bit that works, right, from the comic books, when he gets hurt, he evolves for it to stop. They did that, and then by the end of it, he did have the sort of bones coming out and everything. So it does kind of work. It'd been great if it was more of its own movie.
It should have been. Yeah, I've always pictured the Death of Superman should be his own film, but then again,
like three films or something,
trying to put 3 all-in-ones or something. But yeah, it should have been like a two-parter or something. That would have been so freaking cool.
Yeah, or even just at the end, like at the end of the BVS, they're friends, and then suddenly Lex is like brings out Doomsday and it just cuts. And the next movie was that.
Yeah,
your Doomsday.
Yeah, exactly.
So us Die Hard fans don't count it. Yeah? I'm happy with that. I don't. Yeah,
I literally the way he. I don't know why they would put that line in unless you knew the back history of what Doomsday was.
Yes.
Why they would throw that line in the movie? So in my head, Doomsday's already been done, and he's either on Earth or out in space somewhere.
He's still floating at the moment.
He's floating around somewhere tied up, and then Lex has created another version of him from Zod's body. So whatever you want to call that. Zod Day.
Zod's Day.
Doom Zod. Whatever you want to call it.
So
did you ever see the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War?
Oh, fuck me.
Seen that movie?
No,
it ties up with a whole new 52 animated movie series. And at the start, they go to Apocalypse, and it's like, what is it? Is it Batman? Constantine, Zatara,
Mr. Terrific, I think.
Flying in, and then there's all these parademons come flying towards them. And they're like, "Wow, they're pretty big for parademons." And as they get closer, they're Doomsday parademons.
Oh, sweet!
And they just rip the crap out of everybody.
And then they land on the ship. They go, "Oh crap!" And then it cuts to 2 years later. Yeah. Everyone's dead. It's like, and they flash back. It's like, "Oh no, the Doomsday parademons just spoilers killed." everyone. It's like you see them people being ripped. It's so gory.
Is this on Flex?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It's one of the goriest.
Some of it, you're like, "Whoa, that's a bit too much."
It's a bit uncomfortable to watch, but it's an animated film, and it's just like, it's a really good film. But it's that first bit where it's like, they're going to fly, and like Doomsday knows, Darkseid knows it's happening, so he's like, send out the henchman. He's like, oh my god, they're Doomsday parademons. I was like, fuck me. There's like,
does he show up in it?
Hundreds who do the Dooms. No, it's just they just have the Doomsday parademons. He's obviously taken the DNA somehow and just merged it with his
or
parademons.
fucked a parademon.
Yeah, maybe. Put parademon
fucked
Doomsday.
Many parademons.
Put Doomsday in there with a bunch of parademons. They just all good fucks. Oh man.
So no, that's damn good choice, sir. Yeah. Damn good choice.
Cool.
So,
right, I got two here. Right, so I'm going to go left field with it, a bit like Ant, the one that hasn't had much stuff, but he's one of my favourite characters. I mean, he gets so overlooked. Is Clayface.
Nice. I thought he was going to be 2 or 3 on your list.
Very nice. I just love him. Again, Batman the Anime series made me love him, but he's just such a cool character of like an actor. Well, we're taking the animated series version. Like, he's an actor who got this stuff like basically thrown down at his throat and then turn him into
quite menacing watching it, because it's just a shadow on the wall, isn't it, when he gets
you just see him choking. Yeah. And basically, I mean, he's been used in like Arkham City as like a boss. Yeah. But he's never been used as like, I mean, there's a few comic books he's in, but there's not been like a massive comic book.
But that
thing.
was a damn good plot twist in that game.
I
never saw that coming.
No, exactly. But he can turn into anyone. He's like Mystique, as he can turn into anyone. Yeah. He can turn all his like arm stuff into whatever weapon he wants. And it'd be such a cool. Again, if they did an animated movie, and he's in Batman Hush as well, the animated version of that. Yeah. But again, really briefly, quickly. Yeah. It's always very brief. He only had like 2 episodes in the animated series. And he's just such a cool. I mean, he's a cool looking character anyway. But the fact that all the stuff he could do, they could build on it so much is ridiculous. I mean, like in the comic books now, he's actually in the Rebirth comic books. He's actually a good guy now. He works with Batman and like Batwoman. Really? Yeah, he's part of the Batwoman's team, which has like Batwoman, Spoiler, Red Robin,
Red Hood.
No, he's not Red Hood. Red Robin. Stephanie Brown, and then Clayface is sort of like her like team that work in this belfry and do these missions and stuff. And he's actually, that gives him a lot of character development. That's probably the most character development I've ever seen him have, because he wants to try and redeem himself, because he's not actually a bad guy. Like, he's just a guy who was a really good, this famous actor, and then got this sort of accident scarred him, and he wants to go back to that. But to do that, he needs money, and that's why he does all this stuff.
Okay.
So it's just
it's kind of good how they've not forgot the character, but they're trying to do something different with him.
Exactly, yeah. So it's an interesting thing seeing him as a good guy now. He's actually pretty, and he's just
how do you feel about it? Do you think he should stay as a bad guy?
I mean, I'm enjoying reading him as a good guy, because it sort of gives him a bit more of a character development, as in he wasn't a bad guy originally. So the reason he was a bad guy was, again, because of the money and stuff. So it's not like he was like brainwashed into it, or he always was an evil guy and then this accident happened and it just made him more powerful. He actually was like just a guy, and just all these circumstances made it happen to him. So I really enjoyed him. I enjoyed ever seeing him in a comic book or like in a show, going to town and kicking some ass with all these powers.
I remember especially the animated series, those episodes specifically were, you didn't forget them because the animation on Clayface at the time was just
things like when he sucks Batman inside him, and they can feel like, I think the second episode's in, he grabs him, he pulls him inside him, and he can feel his heart slowing down. He's like, I can feel him, his heart getting slower and slower, and he's about to, and he's like, and then he starts laughing because he's just killed him, and then Batman fires a grapple gun out of his head. It's just brilliant. It's just awesome. But and also, like, another thing with, like, because of Batman, same thing with Man-Bat, is Batman actually wants to help him, and he wants to try and cure him. It's not like he's like, oh, he's a bag, I'm going to take him down. He actually, like, even in those cartoons, he's a lot of bit about him being, I can help you, like, let me help you. And he's just like, no, I can do it myself, kind of thing. And it's just...
That's like, I don't know if you remember the Batman show.
Yes.
He's actually one of Bruce's friends growing up. And then he joins the Force. Then he has the accident. And then he tries to, like, I think he gets caught, put in Arkham. Then Bruce Wayne turns up and he's like, I'm going to try and find you a cure. I want my friend back.
Yeah.
And then he even tries to become a policeman again with the powers and stuff. It's quite interesting version.
Yeah, exactly, it is. But it's, yeah. So that was my left. It's one of my favourite characters.
I wonder if they haven't used him that much, because he's quite difficult to write a story about. Because 9 times out of 10, the way you beat him is you freeze him.
Yeah, you throw a freeze grenade or something at him.
And I wonder if they just struggle with trying to find another way of stopping him, or Because the thing was like you say, he could infiltrate anything. Like,
Yeah.
So if he was a bad guy in a movie, you would be guessing all the way through the movie. Is that Clayface? Is that not Clayface? And then when you figure out which one he was throughout the movie at the end, you'd want to go back and rewatch it and see if you can spot him throughout the.
Yeah, and he can imitate. He could like imitate and break into places quite easily. Like, I don't know. He could.
It could even be a scene where you think you're watching Bruce Wayne, but you're not. You're actually watching Clayface.
Exactly. They could do so many things with it. It'd be great. So I mean, hopefully one day, like when they run out of doing the Joker and all the other villains loads and loads of times in the movies, they'll be like, oh, let's go a little bit left field. Like, like someone like, he's not in my top 5, but Man Bat's another one, where it's a great story, but because it's going to be because it's so much CGI. I guess like Clayface would have to be so much CGI.
That's the issue, isn't it? Yeah,
It'd make it a bit more difficult to do.
It'd be cool if they actually did actual claymation with him.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, stop motion.
Stop motion.
That'd be really good. It makes sense, really, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely.
Yeah,
So-
quite morph.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, morph. Yeah, absolutely.
like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you haven't talked about your favourite version of him from the Harley Quinn animated show.
Oh God, yeah. Sorry, yeah, of course. So in Harley the animated show, he's also in, and he's played by Alan Tudyk.
Oh, really?
Also voices the Joker, and he's basically this like down and out. He sounds like an actor. Well, he's basically a down and out actor, and whenever he like goes to infiltrate someone, he has to do a backstory and like do this massive thing.
Method act.
Massive method act or whatever. It's like Clayface, go and infiltrate that. Go and infiltrate that thing to see what's going on. Oh, what should I do? Like, there's one when they're
You're a postman.
Brilliant. Maxi Zeus. They have to go to speak to Maxi Zeus, and he's like, right, you're a postman. Go and do him, distract him. He goes, all right, great. So what do I do? And he's like, yes, again, and he goes up and he goes, Dad, and he like looks like Maxi Zeus, and he just starts doing his whole backstory.
And then later on, you see them talking, and then he's like, "Yeah, but you don't have your mother's monobrow and a winky eye and like a wooden leg." And then by the end of it, he looks like this very horrible monster. And you think,
my God.
What did his mother look like?
Yeah, he's great. And then later on, he gets controlled. Like, so he never really does anything. His stuff, you see himself like they're captured. Another point by Mr. Freeze, and they can't move, and he can obviously just go out of it whenever he wants.
Okay,
but he's just stuck in there, and then suddenly they're like eating food, and he just jumps out. He goes, "Oh, I'm just got this food. Hey, you can get out anytime you wanted to." And he's like, "Well, of course I can." he gets shot at some point as well, doesn't he? He pretends to die, and he's like, "And scene." And then they walk off and stuff like that. He's a great. And then, there's another bit where he gets controlled. He turns into this giant, like massive, like Steve Marshmallow size Clayface and starts like blowing up buildings and stuff. And like Harley's like, you could do that the whole time.
There's one as well where he pretends trying to infiltrate Joker's tower, and he's pretending he's Batman, and they basically captured Batman. And I remember Joker says something, doesn't he? And he can't help. Whenever there's a good song on, he will sing. And he just starts bursting into song, and Joker's like, "That's not Batman!" He completely throws the whole plan out the window.
Yeah. I mean, the other episode is she's the weirdest ever. Is when they're trying to infiltrate Wayne Enterprise and they escape, and his arm gets chopped off.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And they take this arm and it turns into a little creature, like a little kid.
Yeah.
And then Jim becomes friends with it and stuff.
Jim
and
Gordon.
It's really weird.
Yeah, okay.
You need to watch this show, trust me. And he becomes friends with it. And he's literally like, Jim, don't take me away. And he starts running away. And Clayface just goes, "Ah, got you!" And he's back again and stuff.
Yeah. And then and then they're running
Can
away.
Clayface not regenerate that hand back?
No, in this version, no. He just had like a line where his hand should have been. It's like, "I need my hand back." But yeah, like in the other ones, he does. They have like little bits of him. But the
best
everywhere.
part about that is when they're escaping with his hand, and Jim's like there with a gun, shooting them on the going to shoot them on the roof, and it's like him, Clayface, Harley, and Dr. Psycho, and they jump on a helicopter, and he's like, "I'm going to shoot," but he doesn't shoot, and then you just hear Dr. Psycho go, "Pussy."
Yeah. You pussy. Yeah. So great.
It's so good.
Yeah, but anyway, Clayface.
So, because he goes sort of good guy-esque towards, you were saying
Yeah,
in the
the
other
comics.
series, is he in your good guy list as well?
No, he's not. Well, because he's only just
2 for 2.
just because he's just got up to it. So no, not yet. Maybe give him a bit more character.
We might sweep someone out.
Yeah, we ain't never know. In a few, like in a year's time, we'll redo this. But he's number one. I mean, like the Batman board game we played like a little while ago, Chronicles.
Yes.
There's an expansion of that where you can play him as a good guy, which is on its way.
I was going to ask you, is he actually now?
Yeah, he's on. Not at the moment. There's a 5th player because at the moment it's only 4 player.
Yeah,
There's a 5th player expansion, which is on its way to my house, which has Clayface as a hero.
Nice.
So I'm shotgunning
that. Good choice, sir. Good choice. So my number 4, again, hasn't appeared in a movie yet. Let's hopefully someday he will, but has been in a TV series, is Mr. Sinister.
Oh, nice.
He was teased in the movie, though.
He was teased, and I'm still pissed off to this day that they never did anything with it. Really infuriating. But when I first saw this guy, again, I didn't really see it and read it in the comics. I first saw him in the TV series, and he terrified me, man. Just the look of him alone.
His voice as well.
Yeah, but just the way, the red eyes, the fangs, everything. It's just, oh my God, how is this guy not like the Omega, better than Apocalypse sort of looking character. But yeah, just, my God, he was just... It was always one step ahead of the X-Men on that episode and everything, and it was just his minions that protected him and everything.
Yeah, the fact is, he was a scientist as well. He looked that menacing.
That's right, yes.
Yet he was a genetic scientist. He's like crazy.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm going back on myself. He's not appeared in anything else. Like I said, he was going to appear in possibly a movie, and that never happened. He hasn't been in any video games. I don't remember him being in any comics recently either. I think he's kind of just...
I don't read X-Men. I haven't read X-Men that recently, but I don't remember him showing. I say the animated series is my main source of him. I think he was in the Wolverine in the X-Men cartoon as well. Did he appear in it? Or
I think he did.
He mentioned, I swear he's in that as well, which sort of, he was similar sort of character. But there's some of the best episodes, like some of my favourite X-Men. I haven't put them in. I wanted to. He's like Cyclops and Jean Grey, and the other ones he's obsessed with. But he basically creates Cable. I think he creates Cable. Does he?
Yes.
He force. He sort of, I can't remember. Well, in the animated series, he took the genetics from those two,
right,
and to create a kid, which was Cable. I don't know if that actually is how it happened in the comic books, but yeah. And it's just his obsession with making the perfect mutant and like taking the best genetics from everyone and merging them together.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a cool idea, and
it was, wasn't it? And the whole Savage Land thing, I thought was just
it was one of my favourite
idea for a movie.
Favorite episodes was that where they all lost their powers, and it's just like shit. And except for Wolverine, he's just like, there's nothing human about these. And I look at his cause that he's like, ow, that really hurt. It's like shit. I forgot they actually come out of my skin.
That's right. Yeah.
But I feel like the good thing about him not being in any movie so far is that now when Marvel Studios get hold of him, they don't have to change it just because he's already been done. They can do him properly.
Yes,
when they get hold of him, because I feel like they would do.
I kind of worried about how he'll look in the films as well. Like going back to when Apocalypse was first announced, it's like, holy crap, Apocalypse is coming, and then we got that result.
Did you ever see that? Because the studio that worked on BVS also did the concept for X-Men Apocalypse, and they've got a whole bust of what Apocalypse is going to look like, and he looks amazing. But Bryan Singer went with the other studio that made the actual movie, and they didn't go with this one. If they'd gone with that, he would have been amazing. He looked perfect.
See, this guy, again, I'm just worried that Mr. Sinister wouldn't have looked anything like that at all. I think it would have been too scary for its younger generation that watch these movies anyway. So I'm kind of glad he's not done yet, but it'll be so cool. Again, going back to Omega Red, just a nice little hint that we can bring him in at some point.
I'm hoping the MCU, now they've got the rights to X-Men, will do a great job with all the characters. I mean,
get the lineup right as well for a start.
I wonder if they'll actually go with the originals and then move on. But
interesting. See where they go with.
Yeah, just have Wolverine in an actual suit.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Wolverine not being in a suit as well, because they can just do it exactly right if they want to.
Did it ever bother you that he was never in the suit? We're kind of going off topic here. I know.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I know they did a deleted scene where he has the suit in a case.
In a case at the end of the Wolverine. Yeah, no, it
always bothered me that Wolverine was 6'4".
Yeah, very true.
Always bothered me.
He's meant to be a little.
I love Hugh Jackman. Like people when they say like, "Oh, perfect casting is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Tony Stark as Iron Man," and then they go,
"Tony Stark as that? You mean Robert Downey Jr.?"
Robert Downey Jr.
He is Tony Stark,
and then you go Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. And I'm like, no, Hugh Jackman is not Wolverine to me. Wolverine should be a small little hairy animal. That's what Wolverine is to me. So like, pretty boy Hugh Jackman. Even though I love him
like a Wolverine, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. I'd love them get a Wolverine to play him.
I do love what he did with the character, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, his passion and everything, and the way he acted was great. But he didn't look like Wolverine to me.
Yeah, but it wasn't his. It wasn't him doing it though. That's the studios getting involved in like changing it all up, isn't it? So he probably would have done a better job if there wasn't any interference.
All the MCU need to do to like be like oh, make you jump out, just get a small guy in a suit and it'll be done. That's what we have to do. It's literally it'll be like, oh no, it'll be much better, or it'll be just as good. So
that's my number 4. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is the Green Goblin.
Nice. Spider-Man's Joker.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I nearly put him in.
Oh, really?
So close to put him in.
It's weird because like when the first version of Green Goblin I ever saw was from the animated series back in '94.
Yep.
And it's weird because he comes after Hobgoblin in that.
Yes.
In the comics, he comes first, which is kind of it's when you grow up watching something a certain way and then you read it a different way, you're like, do I prefer that or do I prefer the other way? And but the one thing I loved about Green Goblin, he was so fed up with Spider-Man, he just decided to follow him home one day, and because I like the way they did it in the animated series where he was using, was it the spot?
Yeah, the teleporting.
And he had like the black hole thing, and he could, so that when he's following him, he could quickly look and then duck back in, and his spider sense would go off, but he couldn't find him.
Yeah,
but I just love the way that, because like as a villain, if you're getting week by week beaten by somebody, you'd go, right, I'm going to find out who this guy is, and no one ever does it. But I just love that he was like, right, I'm going to follow him home one day and find out who this guy is, and then he's so disappointed when it's just some 16, 17-year-old kid. You know, oh, what?
Because I've never read the one where he finds out in the comic book.
No, neither have I.
Does he? Yeah, okay, good. I was going to say, does he know? Because obviously in the cartoon, he's Harry's best friend, who's like Harry's dad is the Green Goblin. So he's just like, oh my God, it's Peter Parker. So I don't know.
I know for a fact that when they wrote it, Stan Lee came to Steve Ditko about his idea for the Green Goblin, and then Steve Ditko changed the whole way that he was going to be drawn and the way he did it. And when they wrote him, they didn't know his alter ego. They just wrote him as a bad guy that looked like a Halloween-style goblin. And then for about 7-8 issues, they were like, "Well, who's he gonna be?" And I remember reading about Stan Lee wanted it to be a nobody, like it was because everyone was speculating it was going to be him, and him. And then he was like, "No, let's just throw a cube out and say no, it's nobody." But then Steve Ditko goes, "No, because it won't. When you find out, it will be so disappointing that it's nobody you know. So they don't know. We've got to make it somebody like we know." And he was writing it thinking, I'm going to make this Norman Osborn.
Okay.
And he just drew him Green Goblin. And then he actually left, like issues, I think it was like 63 or something. He left, and then John Romero Jr. took over him drawing it. And he told him, I'm planning this to be Norman Osborn. And the next issue where John Romero Jr. was drawing him, they announced it was Norman Osborn. I think Steve Ditko's a bit annoyed about that.
Yeah, I would be as well.
At least it was the character that he was drawing.
Yeah, at least it didn't totally change the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It was.
They didn't change the idea, but
because in Hobgoblin's like a nobody. As far as
but I don't know why. I always preferred Hobgoblin. I don't know why.
It's because it's voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
maybe that may be one of them. Yeah,
I'd prefer the look of Hobgoblin.
Yeah,
massively.
I was about to go for that. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of prefer the green one.
But he's because he's like a he's like a con artist or something, and I can't remember again from the animated series. Norman builds him all the stuff.
Yes,
but I can't remember. I think in the comic books he steals some of it.
But
I think it's because the Green Goblin goes missing.
Yeah, he
then finds it and takes it.
Takes it all.
Wasn't he related to someone, or he was going to marry someone?
Felicia Hardy.
Yeah, in the cartoon.
It's in the cartoon or the book?
That's in the cartoon.
He was going to marry, and yeah, she finds out because he's in this big mansion. He was like a nobody, and he's got all this money from nicking from robbing banks, and he's this big mansion. But again, like you said, like he's Spider-Man's Joker because he is one of the few villains in Spider-Man that's actually hurt him. He find out who he was. He killed Felicia. Well, that was the big battle with Felicia, whereElicia dies. Is Green Goblin?
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy. Sorry, what talking about?
I was about to say, do you blame Spider-Man for that or Green Goblin?
Oh my God, man.
Green Goblin.
Do you? Yeah. Even though Spidey breaks her neck.
Yeah, but like, if the Goblin wasn't such a bastard and followed him home, he wouldn't be. I don't know.
You can't say the C word on this.
I know.
Can't drop the C-bomb.
Yeah, but I think that was probably the biggest death in comics at the time as well.
Yeah,
she died. Because, Lois Lane never gets a scratch on her.
Exactly. Selena Kyle, all that lot. But, I mean, it's like even some of the most famous front covers of Spider-Man is the one where he's being, like, Peter Parker strung up in, like, a suit, half-ripped suit with his spider costume underneath with Green Goblin dragging him away. Yeah. It's one of the first things I think I ever saw of Spider-Man. It's just an iconic shot that'll never leave my head.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, going back to Hobgoblin, it was probably the first one I saw before Green Goblin. And I got into Spider-Man when Todd McFarlane was doing the early 90s era of it. So the way he drew Hobgoblin was just so freaking sinister.
Yeah.
And then when I got to see Green Goblin, a different artist had done it by then. And I was like, well, that's probably why I liked them compared.
Yeah.
But as you said, no, Green Goblin is more effective to Spider-Man than obviously Hobgoblin is. It's Because said it's his Joker at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, also like Harry, his best friend, becomes the Green Goblin at one point as well. So you've got best friends fighting each other, which is just an awesome concept.
And he's been in a lot of movies and a lot of shows.
You're
gonna so you're gonna ask me
please tell me it's William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn is fantastic.
You know, I'm about to sacrifice.
And like his voice and everything is great, but the suit,
But that was never the original suit, was it?
The original suit looks so good.
It does, doesn't it? I was so gutted when they changed that.
I think when they finally put it together and they showed it on screen, they were like, kids are going to be terrified of this.
Yeah.
And that's why they changed it.
Yeah.
Because...
it's just the mouth and the eyepiece and the mask that comes up that annoys me with that costume. Yeah. Like the main thing is like
the glider's pretty good.
The mask doesn't look too bad, but then for some, I guess to show more character, his eye things come up and then his mouth thing comes up, so you see his mouth and his eyes at some point when he's talking. It's just like, why?
Yeah. I love the part where Spidey goes to punch him and he catches it. And he goes, impressive, but his mouth doesn't move.
Yeah. Which is like when he captures Spider-Man and Spider-Man's like knocked out like on the rooftop and he just sits there and he's like hits him in the head. He's like, so what are we gonna do? And it's like, what are you doing?
It looked like you had two toys and you were just like playing around with them.
So what are you doing? Yeah, it's very strange.
But then you got did they classify him as the new Goblin in Spider-Man 3 where it was Harry Osborn on the surfboard?
Yeah.
On the snowboard or whatever it was.
Did they though?
I think he used
the gas and stuff,
but
he never really actually said, I am the new Goblin.
I did love the look of the pumpkin, because he used pumpkin bombs in the comics. The way they were sort of like orange bombs with green light was really cool.
Yeah, but that version's like, that doesn't exist.
So we had the animated series, we had Sensational Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man.
And then the Ultimate Spider-Man. And then the new Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Ultimate Spider-Man's like the ultimate version where he's a massive actual goblin.
Yeah.
Which I don't really like.
And then you've also got Harry Osborn in Amazing Spider-Man 2 as well. He kind of turns half goblin, doesn't he, with his skin, because his dad's got the same disease.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But that version's not that great. But I think my favourite version, is from Spectacular Spider-Man, the cartoon. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that.
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah. The thing that I love about it is because I've watched that. It's only 2 seasons, and I've watched it about 4 or 5 times. But I've only ever seen the very last episode once. I always don't watch it because I don't want it to end. And I honestly can't remember who's Green Goblin. I've only seen it once. It's either Norman or Harry. And I honestly, because they tease at the start because Harry wants to become a football star. So he keeps taking this green. I can't remember. It's virtually the words goblin, but it's this serum that he finds in his dad's lab, and he keeps drinking it, and he keeps passing out. And then the Green Goblin turns up. You just it's Harry. And then there's a bit where he's like limping, where he injured the Green Goblin, and then so you just assume it's him. But I'm pretty sure the last episode it was actually Norman the whole time. But I honestly can't remember. But my favorite, why I like it so much, is when he throws the pumpkin bombs and they explode. They laugh, and there's something about it. It's just like. Every time when he's like throwing like 400 or 500, he's just going there's something about it I really like. But yeah, I honestly think that's my favorite version because all the way through it, you don't know who he is because it's one of the two.
Yeah,
but it's just done so well, and I really like it. Yeah, so I think that
I didn't mind the Amazing Spider-Man 2 version. Of the way he looks.
I mean, the way when Gwen Stacy dies, I think that scene is fantastic.
Oh yeah, by far. Really but I love that little fight scene, and it's not a very long fight scene they have, but just the look of him, you can tell like the gas is affecting him a bit more now. There's no mask; it's literally just him trying to look like a goblin. Yeah. I kind of like that twist on it, sort of thing.
I also when they're fighting in that, it's like an electrical plant, isn't it?
That's right.
They're swinging around the thing, and then he's trying to pull the cables together while Gwen is trying to turn it on. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't like that movie, but I actually quite like it.
I like this look of the suit.
Oh yeah, the suit's fantastic.
That's probably my favourite suit.
There's rumours, isn't there? Oh no, actually, no, we'll talk about that.
maybe
spoiler alert.
Maybe Spider-Man's one of your heroes.
Nice. Number 3.
Number 3 is Sinestro.
Oh, I knew that was going to be on the list.
I didn't put it on the list because I thought it was going to be your number 1. So
I didn't put it on the list because I knew it would be on the list.
I knew it was going to have it.
These top 3 are my solid top 3 bad guys. Sinestro.
Mate, I'm so surprised by that. I literally thought he was your number 1.
No. Well, you'll get why when I say the next 2. So Sinestro. So for so many reasons why he's a cool bad guy is he was a good guy
Yeah.
He was part of the Green Lantern Corps. He was Hal Jordan's best friend, and then he turned to.
But he was pretty evil the way he got the ring as well.
Yes, yeah. And but then he
the green ring. I mean, not the yellow one.
Right. I get, what gets his ring?
Yeah. Do you know the story?
I don't remember that. I haven't remember.
He's on his planet, and the Green Lantern crashes on his planet, a bit like what happened to Hal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Green Lantern explains to him what he can do, but he's helpless. He's really badly injured that he can't do it. So he gives the ring to Sinestro and say, right, put it on, you control it, and you can do all this thing. And he beats the guy that was killing the Green Lantern. And then rather than then helping him, he goes, no, I like this power, and keeps it, and then lets the guy die. And that's how he becomes a Green Lantern.
Oh, okay. Damn, how have I not read that comic? Jesus Christ. Okay, no.
I love that. I was like, oh, he's like menacing from the start because he loves the power, and
I never knew that backstory.
He thinks he can do better job than anybody else. So
Yeah, well, that's kind of he sort of forces the point and sort of strike similar
he
to
thinks the Guardians are idiots.
Yeah, similar to the way Batman does. He strikes fear into his enemies to try and rather than using the power of will to beat them.
Yeah.
There's so much about him. I've read so many, like Jeff Johns when he did Rebirth and did the whole story of bringing all the other kind of corps and everything.
Yeah.
And just having the yellow power Lantern Corps, and that he was the leader of, and all these menacing people that he's in charge of.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. There's a comic book called the Sinestro War where he comes to invade Earth, which is just fantastic. And there's some things about him which I love, which is there's one in particular which was on the New 52 where he's attacking this planet. I can't remember who the people are on the planet, but there's these bad guys that are on a planet, and he's basically got his sort of generals above the planet, and he's standing there and he sends the rest of them down, and they're like a killer and stuff, like, why aren't we going down there to help? He goes, you don't send the generals in to fight the war first, and he basically sends all these troops down and gets them on, and then he just detonates all the Yellow Lantern rings to kill them all, and it kills everyone else on the planet. And that is how menacing he is.
Fucking hell.
He's just so... Yeah, but it makes sense, right? He's just like... He doesn't care.
Yeah, I can recruit new people.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't care about these people. They're just soldiers to him.
I can get new rings.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And just the backstory about him and Hal Jordan, which is great interaction with them. There's one comic book in particular, I think it's the last one Jeff Johns wrote in New 52.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Which is actually like one of the few times I've read a comic book and it made me cry.
Okay.
So the Guardians have basically, like, way before the Manhunter robots and there was like one ultimate warrior, like lantern kind of person. I can't remember what they called him now. He's basically killing everyone, and the Guardians are like trying to actually help him. And basically, story unfolds, and basically at the end, Sinestro goes and kills the Guardians because he doesn't believe. He's like, you guys have gone too far. He actually goes and kills them all, and then Hal finds out, and he goes and confronts him, and he's just like Sinestro, were we ever really friends? And he goes, he always calls him Jordan. He never calls him Hal. Right. He's always like Jordan. And he goes to him, Hal, we were always friends. This is what I've done this because I know you can't. And I was just like, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. It was just such a beautifully written page, and realizing that Sinestro deep down actually has a love for Hal Jordan, but he does stuff because he knows that Hal won't do it. Yeah. So he crosses that line to stop Hal doing it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And it's just, I mean, he's got
he's like a father figure to him, a little bit, yeah.
He is, and they never show it in the films because they wasn't trying to make Sinestro the bad guy as quick as possible.
Always making him mortal enemies.
There was like a massive stretch where those two worked together as partners for a long time. I mean, they kind of show it in First Flight, the animated movie, where they work together a little bit, but then they have to make him a bad guy quickly. But there's a long
sees him sort of cross the line quite early on.
Yeah. There's a long line of them two working together, and they actually were really good friends. And that's that whole thing of having to fight your best friend, similar to like Winter Soldier and Captain America kind of thing. Of course. That sort of clash is just so good because you can build so much character development with it. And there's other bits where he has a daughter in I can't remember if she's in Rebirth, but definitely in New 52. He had a daughter who's a part of the Green Lantern Corps,
right? As
well, and she has to try fight him occasionally as well, and he has to try and convince her, and she sort of works with him sometimes doesn't. It's just great. Just so much to him. I just think he's one of the best characters going.
Damn right,
good guy.
Because like I said, you always mention him every time.
Yeah,
when I first met you, I was so thought you were going to be number one. He was going to be number one. But then go back to what you were just saying about the him talking about were we ever friends?
Yes,
I literally thought for a moment you were going to turn around and go, Hal, I am your father. I was like, oh my God.
That'd be awesome.
But no, damn, that's a good choice, sir.
So
good reason for it as well.
What's your favourite version in movie TV?
Oh man,
I mean, Mark Strong did a great job.
I mean, the one good thing about that Green Lantern movie, the first 40 minutes, I think is actually quite good. It's when after he
comes back to Earth.
Yeah. When he leaves, like going, oh yeah, we're rubbish, but when he goes back, then the whole film like drops off because you've got some weird decisions were made. Yeah. But
they should have stayed in space like they did with First Flight, and they go on a first mission.
Yeah, well, so I'm hoping for this Green Lantern show that's coming out on HBO Max. Just do a show. It worked in Krypton. Do a show in space. We don't have to be on Earth. Just do it.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any of the decent characters.
Well, yeah, if they, you could bring in like the other characters, but like, I'm just saying. But in space, you could just have like them patrolling different sectors and being like the intergalactic police. That
makes sense, wouldn't it? There's no point doing it in the film.
You should You could do it so well in a TV show of just each episode they just go to a different sector to help out.
Especially if say like the first 5 seasons was just Hal and Sinestro. And you see their friendship grow. Yeah. So when they go against each other, you get all that backstory and history, and you understand the two conflicts. But have you seen who the lineup is with the Green Lantern show?
There is actually going to be a show?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
On HBO,
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because we were like, hopefully they'll do like Hal or John, maybe even Carl Rayner.
Well, this is what I was going to say. They could do like a Doctor Who thing, get rid of one and put a new one in, couldn't they, really?
They're starting off with Alan Scott.
Okay.
Jessica Cruz. And Simon Baz.
Where do I know Jessica Cruz from?
She's
the latest one
from the New 52.
Okay, right.
And then so it's a bit weird why they're going. I mean, maybe because they're 2 newer ones. I mean, I kind of hope that the other ones, maybe they're looking for them because they've gone missing or something along the lines of that. But I feel like they've really missed a treat not going with at least one of those other 3.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't the ginger one. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Guy Gardner.
Yeah, Gardner.
He's in it as well.
Oh, he is in it.
Yeah, he's apparently going to be making an appearance. I was just like, God damn it, why?
Well, it has to have Carl Reiner. If not, there's no point watching it.
Exactly.
Good choice, sir. Good choice.
Thank you very much.
My number 3 is already done. Thank you for that. So straight to your number 2, sir.
Mine is Deathstroke.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That isn't just because you beat me like a bitch in that Batman game the other day. No?
We played Chronicles the other day and I was Deathstroke and I absolutely annihilated them before they got into the bank.
I thought you were going back to Injustice days then.
Oh, right. I never played him in Injustice, actually. I think the first time I ever saw him was when he was like the bad guys to the Teen Titans in that animated show. It was fantastic, but like he's become more of a Batman villain over the years, I found. And like I haven't read that many comics with him, but like when you see him in TV shows, like especially in the Young Justice cartoon, if you've ever watched that,
right?
Oh, he's so good in that. I love him. And then I also liked him in the movie Son of Batman, where he was meant to be heir to Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
But then Ra's finds Batman, and then goes, "No, I don't want you. I want Batman." So then that's when his sort of hatred for Batman, because he's like, "You took my legacy," kind of thing.
Okay.
But I just love that he's just, I don't know, it's just something about the way he fights and the way he's such a tactician, because he was obviously in the military, but then he got experimented on, and he can like, he can't regrow limbs, but he can like self-heal a little bit. And
he's a bit like Wolverine, sort of regeneration.
Yeah, and I just, like, and one of my favourite things is from the Batman Origins game, where it has the trailer of him fighting Batman in the port.
The Batman game no one plays.
Oh man, I'm playing it again right now. Yeah. I love it. It's one of my favourite ones. One of my favourite ones. Yeah. I don't know why people hate that game. It's great.
Because we were talking about this when the Gotham Knights trailer dropped. One of our reactions was like, with the other ones, you finish the game and then you kind of leave them until the next one comes out.
Yeah.
But the one with Origins is it had the multiplayer. And me and Stu just used to play that
constantly.
Yeah. And, I never actually played them. I only did the campaign. But
man,
there was 2 discs for it, wasn't it? One was for the multiplayer, one for the campaign.
The multiplayer was literally, you had like 3 Joker goons and 3 Bane goons, and then you had Batman and Robin. So 8-player online, and you could basically, it would like one from each team each time would randomly get picked to be Batman and Robin, and we'd play for hours just to be Batman and Robin at the same time, and then completely annihilate everyone in about 10 seconds and be like, oh, we have to wait like a couple of hours again to be on opposite teams to then be able to get into Batman and Robin. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun.
The annoying thing was with the latest one, Arkham Knight, where Deathstroke was in it again, but you just fight him in the tanks, and that was so disappointing.
That was a waste of a character. It could have been anyone.
Didn't he show up in Arrow?
Yes, he was season 2 villain in Arrow.
Because they sort of teased him in season. I remember teasing him season 1.
Yeah, because he was on the island with him.
That's right.
He had his friend. What was his friend called? Who was also like a Deathstroke, and they had the mask with the arrow on the
from he was in season 1, wasn't he?
And then he had to kill him because he went a bit crazy. But then he was almost dying in the end of season 1, and they injected him with Mirakuru, which was like their version of his experimental stuff. And then he comes back in season 2, and he's like the main bad guy, and he's like,
that was a great season.
Oh, it was so good.
Magnew Bennett plays it really well.
Yeah.
So.
The only problem with him is he's a bit short.
Yes,
because like
what is it with you in height? You got a too tall Wolverine or too
too
small?
short. Swap him round, mate. You'd be perfect. Magnew Bennett is Wolverine.
Yeah,
calling it.
He'd actually pretty good, actually. Yeah.
And also in Titan, the show Titans season 2, he was in that as well. And the guy who played him in that.
Oh shit, he wasn't he?
He was amazing.
Yes,
he was
of course
great.
He is.
I think that's why he's so up on my list, because he's been in so many things recently. He's fresh in my mind, and they always slightly tweak him. And I just every time they bring him out, I just like that version.
Yeah.
So there's like 5 or 6.
He's got a great suit as well.
He's
got such a cool suit.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you reckon they'll do more with him in the Snyder Cut?
Oh, well, when they teased him with Joe Manganiello at the end, and I was like, oh my god. Well, there was that first teaser, wasn't it? That Ben Affleck put out. They were doing like screen tests of the costume on the back of the jet.
Yeah.
And you saw him, and I was just like, oh yes, I'm ready for this. And then like it was the end of Justice League when he turns up on the boat with Lex Luthor, and he takes his mask off, and you're like, yeah, I definitely want to see this. And then when Ben Affleck backed out from the Batman movie, and he's not going to be in it. I'm like,
damn it!
I'm kind of hope that this Snyder Cut does really well. He's in it for a bit, gets people interested, and then there's rumours that like HBO is going to pick up a Batman show with Ben Affleck.
Okay,
and then he's the bad guy, and it would be.
That'd be insane.
That would be pretty good, actually.
That would be it'd be amazing. So good. Because that's one thing I've always complained about is we haven't had a Batman live show.
He does
since
complain
66.
a lot about this on our
yeah,
show.
66 was the last time we had him. But we've had like 4 Superman shows. We've had Smallville, we've had Lois and Clark.
That's right, yeah.
We've had Supergirl technically, and we're going to have this new Superman and Lois show.
Yeah, he only appears in Supergirl for a couple episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the beginning of season 2 and the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And then
I don't see that new Superman show lasting, to be honest.
No, the one thing I wanted is because Brandon Routh left Legends with his wife Nora.
Yeah,
I can't remember her real name. But they had Nora in the show, and it's like when they announced, "Oh, we're going to make a new Superman show." I was like, "Oh, because they're bringing those two off, and there'll be Superman and Lois in the new show."
Because he was the crossover. Did you watch crossover when he was Superman?
When he was Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah, the Days of Future Past thing. The other one.
It was the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Crisis on Infinite Earth, the 4-hour cut. Sorry.
So like, I was like, "Oh, if he's Superman in a
awesome.
TV show, I'm down with it." But then they pick the other guy, Tyler, and it's like, oh well. But like, yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice, sir.
Cool. Number 2?
Number 2.
All right, so this is probably going to be everyone's top 5, but I'd throw him in number 2 is the Joker.
Nope.
He's not in mine.
Oh, really? Fuck me. I thought it'd be like top of everyone. Fair enough.
No.
I
Top
think
10, but not top 5.
I think he's because he's overused a bit too much.
Yes.
Fair enough.
He is a damn good villain, don't get me wrong,
No.
but it's too obvious that it would be in everyone's top 5.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know if I wanted to put him in either because I thought it'd be in your guys' top 5. I'm glad I did now. So
I know a lot of people are like, fuck this show, no one's put Joker in it. It's like, nothing against the Joker guys, but he's in my top 10, not top 5.
He's done, I mean, I'm not even talking about the movies, he's done that much in the comics. I think maybe because at the moment I'm reading the 3 Jokers comic that Jeff Johns has written. He's just that menacing and dangerous that he can't not be in my top 5. He's like killed Robin, he's paralyzed Batgirl, he has done so much to Batman. I mean, there's a comic book I'm reading at the moment called Joker's War where I'm not going to spoil it for people because it's just been released, but he's completely fucked up Batman ridiculously.
Really?
Like he just does so much, and
Proper fucked.
yeah, got him, bent him over in a Batcave, fucked him up.
He's restructured his face as well at some point.
Yeah, no,
with the Death of Family.
Just his ass.
And just all the thing, and just the sort of the character, the fact that he has no origin, and he's just this crazy. And he's not like he wants world domination. He just wants chaos and everything like that.
So unpredictable, and that's why Batman struggles with emotive.
Yeah, and the fact he wants. I mean, they did it quite well in The Dark Knight. Like he wants Batman to break his one rule. He wants Batman to kill him. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to do as much as I can. So you have to kill me, and Batman still isn't broken. It's just such a great show. And then also you had the animated series with Mark Hamill playing him, which is insane. We've had Jack Nicholson playing him in the movies, Heath Ledger, all these other characters. I mean, there's so many different versions of him. It's hard to pick one, but I'd say maybe Mark Hamill is my favourite because he did the Arkham games and the animated show.
Do you know what? I was actually going to totally agree with you there. I think my vision of the Joker, how I would do it is from those games.
Yeah.
How I want the Joker to be is from those games.
Yeah, and it's very much like the Killing Joke is probably like one of my favourite comic books, and that look like the front cover.
Yes.
That's how I see the Joker, like that, and not the way Jason Fabok is drawing the three Jokers comic book. He's so inspired by that sort of artwork. It's great. So like, you got these three different Jokers, and they all got slightly different looks, but one of them is the Killing Joke Joker.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, and it obviously introduces those other guys like Harley Quinn as well, which was like another one I could have put on there, but I didn't think she was high scale enough to do it. She's out of everywhere at the moment as well, but obviously that was part of the Joker's henchman, and then she's grown into her own thing now.
I've got a question for you.
Oh, God.
Because you said you love it that you don't know his origin, and that he's always trying to make Batman break his rule. So you obviously love the 89 Batman, but he broke both of those things.
Well, I mean, that's like... Yeah, okay, sure.
Spoilers!
I mean, he didn't kill him. He just like fired a grapple gun onto a statue. He didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, technically, it's Joker's fault he let go.
Yeah. It's the Joker's fault that the church was badly made.
Yeah,
it's not Batman's. Collateral damage,
It's
man.
for climbing the stairs.
Yeah, it's him going up there in the first place.
But you going back to Harley Quinn,
Yes.
did you prefer it when Joker was just Joker, or do you like the fact that Harley Quinn's thrown in to help with the Joker?
Good question. There's some...
Not that the Joker needed Harley to go into it.
I think a lot of the comic books, I haven't read that many comics where they're actually together, mostly from the animated series where I've seen them together. When I started rereading the comics, it was very much she'd already broken away from him and was becoming her own thing.
Yeah.
And then he's now got like a new one called Punchline, who's a new sort of sidekick. But he's more menacing when he's by himself, because I think Harley... Does she bring him back down to earth? Probably not. She's crazier than he is. But yeah, it's a weird one. But I enjoy the Harley Quinn dynamic of it. The fact that she's puts up with his abuse and stuff. And now it's gone a bit weird because she's gone into like a hero sort of version of him, and actually wants to try and kill him.
Would you ever have the worry that she was going to try and be the female Joker?
I think in some ways I think she tried to, but I think that for me she's not strong enough to have her own comic books or show. Like I read the comic book and it was very much like Ivy was in it and she had other people there.
Movie, Birds Break.
yeah. And even the TV show, the Harley Quinn animated show, she's not in my top 5 characters in that show.
Oh wow.
There's a show about her and she's not my favourite character. She's in it, great, and she's great, but there's other characters in that show that make...
But you watch it for?
Yeah. Massively.
Psycho's number 1 in that.
Bane, mate. Bane and Jim Gordon.
Dr. Psycho. Love Dr. Psycho.
Yeah, but no, he is my number 2.
Who's your favourite Joker, Ross?
My favourite Joker? Like, I feel like Heath Ledger, when you look at what he did in the movie, was fantastic, but I never liked the origin of him. Because like, for me, Batman has to create the Joker, and that is why he's obsessed with him, not him just turning him out of the blue. And I wasn't a massive fan of him putting the war paint on rather than it being chemical thing that bleaches his thing. And then you've got Joaquin Phoenix's version was great. I mean that film was fantastic, but I don't see him as the Joker. I kind of see him as an idea of the Joker.
Yeah.
So I can't judge him that well. And then you've also got Jared Leto as well, haven't you? I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but I feel like he's the most comic book accurate. You know, he fell in the toxin. The only thing I didn't like about his one was the tattoos. If he didn't have the tattoos, he would have looked very much like Ross's version of the Joker when he was wearing the tuxedo.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And the one thing I did like about his version is that he had like the braces or the metal things to
teeth,
hold his teeth, because Batman's punched him so many times he just fucked his teeth up.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
I quite enjoyed the gangster sort of part of it, because in the comic books he is he's a mob boss gangster, which is what Jared Leto's one, and also the unpredictability of him when he was. I mean, he didn't get a lot of screen time, but when he was on screen,
you didn't know what he was going to do.
You didn't know
especially when he was like
he was never given the chance at the end of the day, was he?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, rumours are he's getting put him onto the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
isn't Hal Jordan meant to be in it as well?
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds might be coming on. Apparently Margot Robbie might be coming on. It's like this, they've just gone crazy with this. They've gone, right, so we're going to make a 4-hour movie. Let's add everyone back in.
Well, I kind of hope that they're thinking if it does really well, we can reuse these characters and bring them in. Like, if they're going to do like that Ben Affleck Batman show, you've got to have a Joker in there at some point.
Yeah.
bring Jared Leto in, and then really give him some screen time, show him what he can do, and then he might turn out to people's best.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, see, film wise, I agree with Ross. It's like the fact that the thing I like about Heath Ledger's Joker is they got the point across where it was like, I want you to break your one rule, so I'm going to do all this shit to you, so you have to do it. Yeah. And he still doesn't. He just, and that bit at the end where he's hanging upside down, he goes, "We're going to be doing this forever." It's when an unstoppable object meets an an
immovable object
meets an unstoppable force. Blah, 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 that thing, yeah. That phrase just sums them up perfectly. That's exactly what they are. So it was great. But yeah, I don't like the paint, and I don't like that he didn't create him, because in the comic books there's a big thing about, you created me, and now you're gonna have to deal with me.
I'm your problem. You got to deal with me.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I didn't speak about Jack Nicholson either. Like, I think he was great for the time, but I always see Joker as a scrawny little, like you said in the Arkham games. He's such a scrawny little guy.
So he's too fat for you now.
Yeah.
So too short, too tall, too fat,
too fat.
I just feel like
you're part of like the Three Bears and Goldilocks here, mate.
That's what I'm saying is like, as soon as Batman actually went up against him, he just destroyed him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like the Joker can fight hand-to-hand combat, but he's got to be quick, and he's not like really
unpredictable.
Yeah. Like Batman can't kind of judge it, but he's so nimble and like, what's the word? I don't know. But like, I just felt like when you see Jack Nicholson's one, he didn't really put up much of a fight. Kind of.
I don't think he does at all, really. I mean, he goes to punch him, doesn't he? But then hits his armor,
and he's just like, ooh.
And that's it, and it's over.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like they got the origin right. They got
apart from the parents.
Yeah, the parent thing change, and then him dying at the end. But like the way he was created because I kind of like the way that. Doesn't something get shot and then he like scars his face, and that's kind of
bullet
ricochets off.
That's right, and then he falls in the vat, and it kind of makes. And then when you got that doctor is unraveling his face in that basement, like
that's a creepy scene.
That's such a great scene, and he's like, "Give me the mirror,
the mirror."
So good.
He played. I never realised when I was a kid watching it, but watching it back, like we went and saw it in the cinema last year.
Yeah, it was so.
And I've watched it again since. It's just he actually is crazy in that. Yeah. Like you don't. I never really noticed it as a kid. I just thought, he's a Joker. But he like some of the stuff he does is just so. I was like, what? I
love the scene where he's in his old boss's chair in the dark.
Yeah,
and he turns up and he's in his dressing gown, isn't he? And then he just turns around and his face comes into the light, and he's got that smile, and that looks great.
Where they get the hell? Where they get the hell out of me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, and just the bit with where he just puts the punching bag into the TV, and he's like, "Batman, what's time to town? We live in one
town needs an animal.
It's all by press." Yeah, just all the credit. Even when he like leaves Vicky Vale's apartment, and he just goes like, flies out. He's so crazy. He's just so crazy.
I'm giving a name to my pain.
Taking over the TV stations as well. It's such a Joker thing to do.
Or just doing the chemical things as well. Of being like just putting random chemicals in all these.
Shiverboard! We're gonna hold you on.
Anyway, so he is amazing. Okay.
Yeah, as I say, it was going to go in someone's top 5. I mean, like I said, I wanted to do it, but definitely top 10 for me.
Cool.
Number 2, going back to you saying about Batman TV series, my number 2 is King Tut.
King Tut?
No, I'm only joking.
I was like, Jesus.
I just wanted to see your reaction for a sec there.
Egghead? No.
So mine's going to be Venom.
Oh, nice.
Which is a bit of a very much like Clayface to you, because he starts off bad. He's kind of good now. Later in the comic series,
Venom now, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. But again, this is going back to when I got into Spider-Man again, very Todd McFarlane phase, and the way he drew him. I mean, it's very, again, if anyone doesn't know who Todd McFarlane is, he's the guy who created the comic book series called Spawn. Which is all about demons, hell, clowns, and all that sort of stuff. And it's very, very similar to the way he draws his demons, to the way he did Venom. Very jaw dropped to the bottom, massive tongue sticking out, whatnot, everything. And it was just, I know you see Green Goblin as his Joker. I see Venom as his opposite, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But the sort of story behind what Venom is really helps with that as well, because obviously he was put on Spider-Man. He's a symbiote, alien symbiote that is on Peter Parker and sort of enjoys that power, and then Peter rejects him and he wants revenge, and then he drops onto Eddie Brock, who also wants revenge as well, and they have a common common enemy.
Yes.
My favourite power is that because he knows Peter Parker's got the spider sense,
He can block it.
he can block it. I think that is a fantastic
Yeah, absolutely.
twist.
I was going to bring that up, actually. Yeah, he's just... Yeah, it's... How can you not, like him? If he's not in the top 5, he's got to be in your top 10 somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just... I didn't like the movie before anyone asks. I fucking hated the film.
I haven't seen it.
I've
I've seen bits. I haven't seen the end. I saw the first 40 minutes.
I won't go into it too much then, but yeah.
I've heard that the bits where it's kind of like Tom Hardy and Venom, they're quite good, but the rest of it's kind of weak.
Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, the character, wasn't too bad. I mean, it's a bit odd seeing someone good-looking playing Eddie Brock, because that's what Eddie Brock was like. He beefed himself up, didn't he, in the books? It's just... When he becomes Venom, I mean, Venom straight out says, I'm decaying your body, I'm an organism, I will end up killing you at some point. But then Eddie, he becomes best friends with it at the end. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, you're going to kill me, but it just didn't happen in my body. Yeah. I don't mind. But no, there's a few bits in there are good, but... I
never realised, spoilers for you, they make him a cannibal in the film, which I never read in the comic books.
Yeah. So
he was in Ultimate.
So later on,
Okay,
later on in the books, he becomes a good guy, and the organism says to him, "Oh, I only eat brains." So he goes out and so Venom becomes vigilante and starts beating up people that try and mug people and eats their brains. So I was like, yeah, he's still very evil in a way. It's still
that's not a hero.
I get what you're doing. You're doing a good guy thing, but you're still doing a very
so that's why that was in the
sadistic
film.
thing. Yeah.
So I saw it in the film, and I was just like, I've never read a comic where Venom eats brains.
In the movie, is he an alien or is he created?
Yes.
He is.
He's an alien.
He's an alien.
They have all the different symbiotes and things.
Because in Ultimate, it's Peter Parker's dad and Eddie Brock's dad trying to make a cure for cancer.
And they create Venom.
And then it was a suit that you were going to put on, and it takes all the dead cells and cancerous cells out of you and cures you. And it's only when they Richard Parker he taps it into his own DNA to test it, and that's why it only worked for Peter when he's Spider-Man. And then he comes off, and then he takes his abilities and goes on to Eddie, and then he has to suck energy to keep alive because it's not an alien. It's
that was another thing with Venom. I like the fact how Peter didn't use it as much when he had the suit, but Eddie uses the suit for certain things, like creates massive jaws or whatever sort of thing like that. And I kind of like it because it's just that's terrifying. If something like that was coming at me, I'd probably shit myself as well.
Again, it was similar to Clayface. He can change his clothes and look whoever he wants and stuff like that. So
I
do like the whole thing where he's like, I don't think he did it much with when he was on Spider-Man, but when he's Venom, he's very much like, we will do this. We will.
Yes.
It's because Eddie's mind's weaker, isn't it? So he can control him more, where Peter could kind of resist him a bit.
Yeah, manipulate more, doesn't he?
Get the anger up.
Yeah. So I mean, it was great as well, with the animated series, because it was the first season Venom turned up and they had the 3-part with the black suit.
That's right, yeah.
And
that was such a great
part
of that.
I think when I first started watching it, I'd missed that episode.
Okay.
And then obviously when you watch the title screen, it's got Venom at the end and he's stringing
them up.
And I was like, oh, who's this? And I was always watching it to try and find that episode. When I finally watched it, I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great.
And he comes back a few times, doesn't he, in the animated series?
Yeah, he comes back because Carnage shows up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And that's when he starts to utilise being the good guy more, because, Carnage is more...
He's crazy than he is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was the guy? Cletus something?
Yeah, Cassidy.
Cassidy, yes,
yeah.
He's definitely got great now. So my number one's done, so it's literally going to be you two to finish the top 5.
Ooh,
so
nice.
what's your number one, sir?
Mine is Magneto.
The master of magnetism.
Yes.
It's not yours, is it?
No, that's right.
Always be really quick. I think the thing that I love about him is that he, again, I don't feel like he's that much of a bad guy. He's just trying to save his own race mainly, because he thinks that the mutants are superior to the humans, and he's like, no, forget about them. They're old hat. We're the future, and it's like I feel like the X-Men. He just feels like they're getting in his way, and he just wants to. I like when he just leaves and goes on his own planet and just sort of, and especially when what's the sort of island that he makes that's safe haven. Genosha, that's it.
Yeah.
I love it when he's just like, I've given up. I'm just going to go on this island. Everyone's safe here, and nobody, none of the X-Men trust him. And he's like, no, I actually just kind of want to live here and just be peaceful, and then the humans can just die off and we'll survive, kind of thing. I love him as a bad guy so much.
Some of the best bad guys are ones where what they believe in actually makes sense.
And you kind of you can see their side of it, and you're like, yeah, okay, right, man, no problem.
It's kind of like Sinestro in a little way, like what he's doing,
it's a bit like Zod as well.
Yeah, and Zod, what he's doing, but he believes is right. Yeah, it's not like he wants to rule the world.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's the same with Magneto. As you said, he wants mutants to not be hunted and killed. He wants them to just be
especially
superior
like
race.
Where his origin, he was in a
concentration camp,
and like parents murdered virtually right in front of him, and he's like, I've got no time for humans. We are the superior race. Everyone else is below me. I just love that aspect of him. And then I also really like him being friends with Charles as well. Yeah, he's got that conflict as well, a bit like with Sinestro and Hal, where you're like, well, if you're going to get my way, I will stop you, but I'd rather if you just joined me rather than went against me. And he doesn't understand why the X-Men are trying to save the humans, and I just love that aspect of him. And I think Michael Fassbender played a really good version of him. Like, was it
Ian McKellen?
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like he was a bit too old.
Yeah, I totally agree on that one.
I think they had to hire someone old to match Patrick Stewart's age, I guess, but they went a bit too far with it.
Yeah.
And because he couldn't really, say in the comics, like the cartoon series, he's like ripped and he's like can fly and do this magic like stuff.
Like, he's got white hair, he must be old. No, he's just got white hair.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a bit. But what they do with Michael Fassbender in the movies is great.
Yeah, him and like James McAvoy's like friendship throughout those movies is probably one of the best things about that franchise. I think that was done really well.
Yeah, the way they can work together sometimes, and then sometimes they're mortal enemies.
Yeah, I mean, even when they were working together in First Class, they always clashed, didn't they?
Yes.
They're completely different sides of the coin, pretty much. Yeah. And when he kills,
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, with the coin.
Sorry.
That's it, yeah. And then takes the helmet at the end, and like even when he stops all those rockets, turns them back round, and all the like sailors like, it was a pleasure working with you, boy.
Oh shit,
dude! That scene when he lifts the submarine up, I was like, "Holy shit, that's fucking incredible!"
Like, I don't think there's a few characters that never get to see their full potential, and I think they don't. Yeah, Scarlet Witch. I mean, like Cyclops is another one, but there's a few where you never get to see their full potential. And in those films, I think they showed Magneto's potential really well.
Because he's there's the bit at the beginning of the movie, isn't it, when he's in the water at night and he's trying to stop that.
It's like torpedoes or something.
Yeah, doesn't he use like the anchor or something?
That's right. And because he's got so much anger, he can't control it very much. Then throughout the movie, like Charles is explaining, no, you can concentrate a bit more, and then he obviously does it to all the other mutants. And then at the end, he can easily move that sub out the water off the plane. And like, he's come a long way, but then he still kind of betrays them at the end, which is such an evil thing to do. I love.
Yeah, it's good though.
But it's still like the like spoilers for people that haven't watched the X-Men animated series. But the final ever episode of that, when Charles dies and he comes and says goodbye to him and stuff. It's just it's like proper poetic. It's really great.
Yeah. So when you talk about those films with Fassbender and McAvoy, it's like, because he's Magneto, you're waiting for something to. Yeah. It's like, when's he going to turn on him? When's he going to do something?
Because even like when you first watch it, you're like, oh, maybe they'll just stay friends for this one and they'll leave it for the next one.
Yeah.
But then at the end, he's like, especially when he accidentally like deflects the bullet and he's the one that paralyzes Charles as well.
Yeah.
And you can see that he's like really upset that he does it. But then like Charles is like, no, I don't want you to.
But the lady shot the bullet, so technically it's her fault.
Yeah, definitely.
Good choice, sir. Yes. Damn good choice.
Cool.
Your number one, sir?
My number one is the Riddler.
Really?
Yeah.
This isn't the King Tut thing now, right?
No. He's the Riddler. He's the Riddler.
Is it because you want the trophies?
Yeah, all the trophies. No, it's just
wow.
It's something from just I think it's my childhood that is just nostalgia for me.
Okay.
I used to watch the 66 show all the time.
Yeah.
And the Riddler.
I love spandex.
I love tight spandex. But the Riddler in that was just great. I used to love him in that. And then the animated series, especially, again, probably where most of my villain things come from. That version of the Riddler was really great. And I love, like similar to what Ross was saying about Scarecrow, the way it's not like hand-to-hand combat thing with him. It's about using going against Batman like on mental wavelength and trying to outsmart him and stuff. It's just, I just think it's great. Like, every episode, it's got like in the animated series, in the Batman, even though he's drawn really weird, the episodes with him in where he's trying to outsmart Batman is just so clever. And even in the DC universe, he's one of the very few bad guys who know who's Batman is, but you can't tell anyone because it's the answer to the greatest riddle of all. And if everyone knows the answer, it's not a great riddle.
It's not a great riddle, no.
So
he just wants to top everybody, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
if he gives the answer away, he won't.
Exactly, and it's just and I mean, say like I guess even to a point when Batman Forever came out and Jim Carrey did it, when I was 11 years old watching that, I was like, oh, he's fucking awesome. It's great, just doing all the riddles and stuff. So yeah, it's a weird one. I know it's a weird one, but
he was also fantastic in the Gotham show.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. The guy who played Eddie in that was just great. You saw him going into madness and actually seeing he's a bit of a psycho,
being a bit of an assistant in the GCPD. In the forensics, wasn't he?
Yes.
I think, and then you just see him kind of getting a little bit crazy, and then he always started off with the riddles. Like, just give us a damn answer, Eddie.
And he could possibly be the main villain in the new film as well.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
So,
I'm quite excited. I mean, it's going to be a weird. I don't know. I'm umming and ahhing about the take on him. I think he's quite. In some ways, I'm really intrigued. They're doing like a menacing thing of him just killing people and leaving riddles. But at the same time, I never see the Riddler as someone who would just kill people for the sake of it. It's more about doing a riddle to Batman to be like, I'm going to go and rob this bank and put a riddle up to see if he can solve it in time before the bank's robbed and stuff like that. I just love that take on it. And there's been some there's a comic book recently I read. Was it New 50? It must know it was Rebirth, where it's called the War of Jokes and Riddles, where the Riddler the Joker can't laugh anymore, and the Riddler tries to help him, and the lengths he goes to, and the people that die just to get this to happen is really fucked up. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like reading it going, damn, the Riddler's badass. And there's another one called what's it called? Like beginning of New 52, like Earth Zero or Year One or something. Not Year One, but it's basically he shuts down all technology in Gotham and he runs it from a central thing, and like Batman has to try and stop him there as well. It's before he's known as the Riddler. But there's been some great stories with him in it, and they're some of my favourite ones because it's more about can Batman outsmart the Riddler before loads of people die, and I just love those kind of stories.
Wow,
Bring out the detective side of Batman.
Never thought that would be number one.
Yeah,
a nice little twist there,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Or is that a riddle? How did you feel about the video game version of it? I mean, you never really get to see him much, do you?
No, I think like City, you sort of see him a little bit, and then Origins, you get to see him a bit. I like the fact you like some of the longevity of those games, right? Is to once you've done the campaign and all the side missions, go and find all those freaking trophies, and even. I don't think they did it. No, they did do it in the first one. You have like riddles in areas. And you have to go and scan a certain part of the area to do it.
That's the question mark up, isn't it?
Yeah. Line up question marks, like I said. That's some of the. I mean, used to piss off the hell out of me. I think I used to like text Ross quite like, going, where the fuck is this one? I can't find it.
It was his Batmobile missions I used to freaking hate in Arkham Knight.
See, that's the thing about that Arkham Knight game is. Since I was a kid, I've always said this to Ross when we spoke about it, I've always wanted a Batman game where you can just call the Batmobile whenever you want and drive around a city. So when Arkham Knight came out, I was like, hell yes, this is what I've been asking for.
You rung him up, it's finally happening.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, you could actually just drive around Gotham City in the Batmobile whenever you want to do it. And then they brought into like so many like tank missions where you have to go into tank mode and blow up shit. Yeah. It just overdid it. Yeah, it overdid it so much. But like, there was literally like, probably the worst Batman film ever, Batman and Robin.
What?
How dare you, sir?
Fuck you.
Batman Begins.
You have an argument with Rob about that. It's his favourite.
That's another episode, guys.
But that actually had a computer game to it, and in that computer game, you started off in the Batcave, and whether you picked Batman, Robin, or Batgirl, you got a bike or a car, and you get to drive to like the first mission was the museum, which is the beginning of the movie.
The PlayStation game.
Yeah, you get to drive to and you can basically get killed trying to drive because you get hit by shit and you lose those life. Get to the museum, then stop freeze, and then you have to drive somewhere else, and then you can go back to the Batcave to solve clues and stuff.
Okay,
I was like, this is what I want. This is great, and the fact you can do that pretty much in Arkham Knight was just so much fun. Like, I still play Arkham Knight now, and I've completed everything on it. I just go into 89 Batmobile, 89 costume, and just drive around Gotham beating bad guys up for hours.
I'm hoping that Gotham Knights, you can kind of try and go back to the Belfry and like try and
do clues and stuff.
Figure out where the next mission is. That's the kind of thing I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But the thing with the Riddler in those games is he's not in it very much, but you get a lot of dialogue from him because every time you kind of pick up, is it like 5 or 10 trophies, he'll say something. And like you can listen to his like, especially in the first one, they've got like the records, haven't they, of them all in
the interviews,
right, yeah, which is quite a great way of having them.
Yeah, and again, another thing I never realised till recently, a few years ago, because obviously Mark Hamill voiced the Joker. John Glover, the guy who played Lionel Luthor in Smallville?
In Smallville, yeah,
does the voice of the Riddler,
and he's in Shazam.
Yeah. Yes, and in Shazam as well. Yeah, so yeah, I was just like, Jesus, that never would have crossed my mind, but yeah. Again,
actually, he was in Batman and Robin as well.
Yes, he was.
Yes, of course he was. Yeah, he was the professor that created
Cracking movie.
God damn it!
Good choice there. Good choice, guys. So we're going to go into the top 5 of the best heroes now.
It's time for a top 5.
I've kind of gone over halfway already now, so we're going to have to speed this one up a little bit more. Right?
No worries.
Or not go off topic too much, all right? So, Ross, do you want to start off again?
I can, if you like. Yeah,
Yeah, go for it then.
So this one I've got 2 for, and I still don't know which one to go. Like the whole time I'm like,
shall we skip you and come back?
Yeah, come back.
Right, we'll come back.
Oh man, I've got 3 for my number 5.
Right, I'll go to mine. I'll go to my 5. I'll start with 5. So you mentioned it earlier, and I'm quite surprised it's not in your top 5. Is actually Cyclops.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Cyclops is probably my all-time favorite X-Men.
So that was one of those 5. So I'll just one of those 3. I'll delete that one.
Oh, that's all right then. Thank God for that. So just what is there not to like? I mean, when I watched him as the in the animated series, I just wanted to wear that friggin' suit, man.
Yellow pants.
Visors.
Yeah.
Was it? No, they were blue.
No. Blue chest, yellow pants.
It is yellow pants. Yeah, sorry, you're right.
Yellow belt.
Yeah.
Yellow
that
side
hairstyle.
belt.
I just wanted to be that dude because growing up wearing glasses and whatnot, I just wanted to get rid of these and wear that visor, and then I could do so much with. His powers, and like you said, Stuart mentioned earlier that you can do so much more. He can actually be so OP, but they never really do justice for it in the films and stuff.
No, comic books. There are some great comic books where he literally, like, if he takes his visor off, he like one scene there's a sentinel just coming to the mansion.
Yeah,
everyone's down and out,
and everyone's like coming up, and like him and Wolverine stand there, and Cyclops goes, "Stand back." He takes his visor off. He just blows it. All the left is like the bottom of the feet. Yeah, and Wolverine looks at him and goes, "Damn, Scott, sometimes I forget how powerful you really are." He's literally he's meant to be something like the power of 2 nuclear bombs
exactly
behind his eyes. That's how powerful he is.
But they never used it in the movies.
No.
I think you guys recommended it to me was X-Men Cynicism.
Yeah.
I mean, good fucking God, the stuff he does in now.
When him and Wolverine have a fight, he disintegrates Wolverine's
just
skin.
Like melts the shit out of it, really. It's like, good fucking God. But no, just that I always wanted to be like the leader, because he's very leader-esque as well in those. Then the films came out, and when that film came out, I was like, on my dial-up internet at the time when those trailers came out, and it's like, holy shit, there he is. It's not yellow. Yes, it's a black visor. It's like, but you saw some good shots of him, and again, underutilized in the films again. It was such a damn shame.
It's because it's Wolverine in the X-Men.
This is the thing, is the issue.
But the end of X-Men Apocalypse, where you see, I can't remember the guy that played Scott in that, but like he's got virtually the perfect costume.
Oh my God! Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like,
it's the geezer from Ready Player One.
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember his name. But yeah, and you're like, oh my God, the next movie is going to be in that.
Yeah,
they don't use it.
And then, my God, yeah,
those yellow costume. I mean, the fact that he had like in the Blackbird ship, he has like an option where he can go down.
Yes,
and you put the visor onto that thing and shoot it from the spaceship. That was pretty badass. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Exactly.
He actually uses in Dark Phoenix, even though it's not the best film.
Terrible.
He actually uses his powers more than he does in any other movie. In that he uses it quite tactically when he's doing stuff, and it's just like, that's fucking cool. Yeah. That's one of the best bits in it. But no, I agree. He's my favorite X-Men as well. And he was going to be as one of the ones I had there as the top 5. I like him as the backstory of him, like why he can't control his powers and stuff. Like a lot of the characters can, and because he got pushed out of a plane with his brother as a kid, and the parachute didn't work properly, and he hit his head. Means he can't control, so he has to wear the glasses all the time. He's just he's just such a cool, because you could just have him, he can be like Superman and do heat vision whenever he wants. The fact he's like got a sort of disability, but he can't control it.
Yeah.
I think it's such a cool thing, and he has to live with that, and you see how he has to live with that.
That's the thing, because people think it's just a power. It's not. It's something he has to deal with.
Yeah, which is one of the greatest things about the X-Men is a lot of their powers they have to live with. It's not a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
They're not gifted with it, are they?
If they make any mistakes, someone's dead.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's what's so great about it. Yeah. I think that's why they're such an interesting couple of characters. The X-Men, anyway.
Absolutely. So that's my
good choice. Good choice.
Cool.
Anyone want
do you want me to go next? Because it's cut me down to one.
I'll put him down to one.
Because the other one I know you're going to have in your top 5. So I'm hoping. So my number 5 is Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
Really?
The Man Without Fear.
Yeah.
Everyone so far, I've pretty much got. Yeah, I understand that, but that one is well left field.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no. See, I
didn't see that coming.
Ever since the Spider-Man 90 show we used to watch cartoon, he was in that for a couple of episodes when Peter gets framed, and he's in that.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw him now, I was just like, who the hell is this guy? And my mum was actually really into it. I had comic books of him, so I started to read some of them. And again, kind of similar, I guess, to Cyclops. He's sort of got a disability. that has sort of enhanced all his other powers, and what he can now do is just so cool. And some of the comic book, like, he hasn't got the greatest bad guys, but when he goes up against the Kingpin and stuff, is really cool. And then when the TV show came out on Netflix,
that blew up.
I mean, that just made me love him even more.
Yeah,
that show,
absolutely.
That show is just. I'm so pissed off they couldn't continue. I'm hoping.
I think it's probably the best thing Marvel's done, in my opinion.
I'm hoping.
I think it's my favourite of the Netflix range.
Yeah.
I mean, people say Punisher, but I prefer Daredevil.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, and even better that each season got better. I think like the third season when he got up against Kingpin is insanely good, and the guy Charlie Cox who plays him, he's just. I mean,
I believed he was blind.
Yeah, it's just insane how he does it and like all the stuff he does. So I mean, and then that's really. I mean, like you got the obviously the Ben Affleck movie that came out.
I actually like that movie.
I've got the director's cut. I like
that's a damn good version of the director's cut.
I love the suit. I think like
I do.
I think that like the bullseye part of it is a bit lame, but like that whole point of like they got the part of his character down, like the origin of him, like his dad got killed and he had to live by himself, all that kind of stuff, and he learned from a guy called Stick and all that origins. It was spot on. He just got a bit weird when he met Elektra and they started doing that like dance in the park and like that weird shit. If they take that out, it's actually a really quite a dark film.
The way he takes that Kingpin in the end is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, so all that I know. Yeah, so it's just a great character. I love his suit. I love what he is and like what his character and what he has to deal with as well. Because it's not just like a disability, like because his hearing is so hard, he has to sort of focus all the time. Otherwise, he just goes out like I guess like Superman super hearing. Just goes out of control and stuff like that. I love
that idea about the waterbed as well.
Yes,
how that kind of calms it all down, sort of thing. It's and it shows you how he deals with it again, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think he's up there with one because you told me you had to put Marvel in, so I was like, Jesus, I need to put some characters in. So
yeah, sorry about that. You're doing a good job so far.
That's it. So anyway, but yeah, Daredevil.
Even though all your villains were DC.
Yeah, I hope no one knows that.
That's his one Marvel.
No spoilers, but that's all my Marvel I've got.
That's fine. That's fine.
Really?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the other one because I feel like number 5 is definitely in Stuart's top 4. We can talk about.
Well, this is the issue. I think a lot of ours are going to be in here now. So
for number 5, I'm going to go with. Her name is Spider-Woman, but everyone knows her as Spider-Gwen.
Yes, okay. Nice, yeah. She's my number 1.
Oh, really?
No, I'm joking.
Like, when I was reading the Into the Spider-Verse came out, what was that? That was like 2015, something like that.
3 years ago now.
And like issue 2, when she first comes into it, because you get so many extra Spider characters in that one. Everyone, when they were writing it, they thought Silk was going to be the big one that everyone was going to go crazy for. But then when they added Spider-Gwen, like the way that they switched that Earth, which I think she was on Earth 65, and she gets bitten by accident, and then Peter dies, and then later comes back as the Lizard. Well, it comes back as the Lizard because he takes the serum because he's kind of jealous that she's Spider-Woman, and then they fight, and then he ends up dying, and it's like the complete opposite of what happened in 616. And then you've also got her father is like literally just hunting her down because he thinks she's a killer until he finally finds out it's his daughter. But yeah, the thing as well with me is like, especially with comics and TV shows, I'm a very visual person.
Yes.
If I don't like the look of something, the story can be absolutely fantastic. If it doesn't look like I've complained about Hugh Jackman being too tall,
people being too small, too fat.
I don't know. It's just something about the reason why I'd like that character is mainly the way that they look. I mean, I can read a comic that the story's not that good, but as long as the artwork is fantastic, I'll really enjoy it. And I think her design is amazing. I really like it.
Her costume's awesome.
She's just right.
Yeah, yeah.
Finally.
And like when I was watching like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I was like, oh man, if they make Emma Stone turn into Spider-Gwen, or if they even do an alternative Earth and they bring her back, I think she'd be perfect at it.
Yeah, because we mentioned she's died obviously earlier on. So how can you explain to the guys why we now have a Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman now?
Well, it's because it's on a different Earth. So she got bitten rather than Peter did on the science trip. It happens exactly the same, apart from she.
But now with her,
yeah, and then Peter gets jealous that she's got all these powers, so he takes the serum and turns into the Lizard, and then she doesn't know that it's Peter, and they fight, and then he ends up dying, and then when I think when he dies, he kind of reverts back to an almost human form, and then she's like got him in her arms, and then like she realised, oh my god, I've just killed Peter Parker. Who they were friends
Yeah.
before it all happened. And I just when I was reading that, I was like, that is a great twist on a story that I've loved for such a long time. And I've read probably about 100 comics now of her. And
did you like her in the movie?
Into the Spider-Verse?
In the Spider-Verse, yeah, I did.
For what she's in of it, of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then she's also in the Ultimate Spider-Man last season as well, which was, they did her really well in that as well, where she works with Miles and Peter as well. But yeah, it's just something, I think it's just the visual aspect that I really like the most. But the twist on the story just really gripped me from the start. So yeah, that's why she's my number 5.
I just didn't even think that would be in there.
Yeah.
Is that your early Marvel?
Nope.
No. My number 4, we touched up on it earlier, was obviously going to be Green Lantern. Mine was always Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
I always preferred him.
That's my number 3.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We'll go into it then.
That's fine.
Is it the same?
Carl Reiner?
Yeah. Same as yours? Oh, is it really?
Yeah, 100%.
Come on then, go into
100%.
it.
Is that your number 4?
He's my
then?
favourite
Yeah.
Green Lantern as well.
He's my number 4, so you're number 3. Go.
100%. So yeah, Carl Reiner is by far just, I mean, maybe it's the age I am. So when I started reading like Justice League comics, you had the blue and white Superman, you had Wally West as the Flash, and then you had this young kid who was Green Lantern. I was like, hey, he looks a bit different. That's not the Green Lantern I've like seen before. And then I was like, okay, let's find out who this Carl Reiner is. And I went back and read this massive graphic novel, which
Heroes Quest?
different one. That's the one. I think that's what it's called. Where
he becomes Green Lantern.
Yeah, where Hal Jordan goes insane and becomes Parallax.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so right after the death of Return of Superman, when Mongrel's blowing up shit, he blows up Coast City, which is Hal Jordan's hometown. And Hal Jordan, basically, you're not allowed to, as a Green Lantern, create life.
That's right.
And he creates Coast City again because he wants to relive it. And then the Parallax creature that's in the battery sort of takes him over and he turns into a bad guy. He goes around, he kills basically every...
this is the Twilight one.
Yeah. Green Lantern, every Green Lantern, all the Guardians except for Ganthet. And Ganthet's left there and he finds one ring, which he blows up the battery as well. He goes to Earth and he finds this key out the back of a bar and goes, take this. And the kid's like, what the fuck is this? And he puts it on. And it's just the whole story of him, about him finding out who Green Lantern is and trying to work out, and the fact that he's an artist, so his constructs are all really amazing and stuff. And there's loads and loads and loads of stories of him. And then way later on, he then becomes Ion, who has the who's basically like Parallax is the creature of the yellow lantern.
That's right. Yeah.
Ion's the creature of the green, and he actually absorbs the power of Ion, and then he's the one that actually reinvents the battery. I can't fully remember how Hal Jordan comes back, but he brings back Jordan and all the lanterns, everything, and he becomes this Ion, the sort of guardian of the I say galaxy then, but that's wrong. Guardian of the power core and everything, and then he gives that away to another character who was going to be in my top 5, but he's like a really minuscule character. There's only in it
Go on.
called Sodom Yat.
Okay.
He's basically a Kryptonian Green Lantern. And he's in it. He's barely in it, but he becomes Ion for a little bit.
And you were going to bring him in?
I mean, he's this cool of a character, right? He's
Superman with a Green Lantern.
He's Superman. He's basically in Sinestro Wars. The Guardians send him to Earth, and he obviously absorbs all the yellow sun energy. So he's basically Superman with a powering, and how he goes to a planet which is near where Krypton was, and they're basically being attacked by the Sinestro Corps.
Okay,
and he sacrifices himself. He goes into the red sun and turns it into a yellow sun and dies. Wow. Turning everyone on that planet into basically Superman. And then they kick Sinestro Corps up. But he dies quite quickly, and he's only in like a very short run, so I can reput him. But Carl Reiner, so he's Ion, and then later on, which I don't know if it must be a retcon, because I can't see how they could have done this like 20 years later. He becomes a White Lantern. After like Blackest Night and stuff, so he's now the white. He's now.
I thought that was the case because I remember him being in Brightest Day.
Yeah. So he doesn't become White Lantern then, but later on he becomes a White Lantern, and basically you find out that Ganthet, because usually the ring will choose the person.
That's right.
But Ganthet actually chose him, and he chose him because Carl Reiner has the ability to control any of the other spectrums.
Yeah.
So he can. So it basically becomes at one point all these different rings, like one of each ring, bar the orange, come to him, and he's just like, "What the fuck's going on?" And like Ganthet has to explain to him, like, the reason I chose you is because you are that powerful. You can control rage. You can control fear, will, love, etc. And he can basically then becomes this White Lantern that can control each of those powers, and he just becomes this ultimate awesome character that flies around the galaxy with Sapphire. What's her name?
Star Sapphire.
Starfire. Yes, yeah, Starfire. Sapphire. Yeah, going around this whole New 52 storyline of him going around with her saving the universe.
Was he your first Lantern?
I think so. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the one. It's the one I remember reading in the Justice League, going like, "Oh, he looks really cool. Who the hell is he?" And then I went back, and then I started reading about Hal Jordan and John Stewart and.
Yeah, mine in theory was Guy Gardner because of Death of Superman.
Oh yeah,
and then I was like, this guy looks like a twerp. So, and then I found that obviously a picture of Carl, and I was like, holy shit! Like I said, the mask alone, looks better than Hal's as well, doesn't it?
His costume as well.
Absolutely, man. He just like, and I think I read him. Who did he go against? I can't remember now. He was in DC versus Marvel once.
Yes,
and I can't remember who he goes against. But he loses that battle. But what he does in
Silver Surfer, isn't it?
Is it Silver Surfer?
There's a comic book where he fights the Silver Surfer. I've definitely got that somewhere.
But what he does in that fight, it's just like he does everything in his path. He loses, spoiler alert. But fuck it hell, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, but just really, I've got loads of single issues of him just being the Green Lantern. Just the construct, whoever was drawing it, I can't remember who was drawing it at the time, just went to town because most like you've got. Like John Stewart's military, so he does lots of guns and stuff. But because he was an artist, they just went over the top of all the stuff he did.
That's right, yeah.
So he did like a samurai suit, but it was just the most detailed samurai suit you've ever seen, and all this kind of stuff. It's just so beautiful on pages when you're reading comics. All this stuff he would create, it's amazing.
The thing I love as well is like every other Green Lantern, they had training.
Yeah,
where he had to sit in his apartment and kind of figure out. What do I do with this thing? And he didn't understand. And then like he was like drawing in his drawing book, wasn't he? He drew a picture of Ganthet. He called him like Red, because he looks like he's wearing pajamas, doesn't he?
Yes.
He calls him Red something, and he would draw a speech bubble, and then he'd automatically just be writing. And he's like, well, "How would I know that?" And his Ganthet's like talking through the ring and making him write out what he was supposed to do, and he's learning like that. Then he goes out and it's like his first encounter, doesn't he? Like someone's throwing like big trucks at him, and he's like swatting them out of the sky, and he saves the day. And he thinks he's done a brilliant, fantastic job, and then Superman lands on his door, and he's like. What have I done? And then Superman's like, you do realize that truck you swatted went 2 counties away and it blew up a petrol station. And it's like, you've got to watch what you do.
He has training, and then Mongol comes along, they has to fight him. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. So that's my number 4. That's your 3. What's your 4, sir?
Where's my 4? He's the fastest man alive, the Flash.
Oh, not Quicksilver.
No.
Whiplash.
Like a soft quiz.
You didn't see that coming?
Oh, clearly not. He's too fast for me.
Yeah, so the Flash. Again, this might be a more nostalgia. I mean, I love the TV show, but the most nostalgia thing. When I was a kid, the video shop in Ifield, which I know we mentioned a few times, they had a video. It was definitely VHS of the John Wesley Shipp Flash TV show. I must have rented those episodes out hundreds and hundreds of times. They had the origin of him.
Is that the one when he answers the door and his feet are all smoking?
Yes, yeah. But he's like sped around, tidied up and stuff. Yeah. You got the origin of him where he finds he has his powers. I think you've got those like 2 other episodes where it's the trickster, which is Mark Hamill, and there's another one where there's this other guy this black guy who's basically this sort of old superhero who has a black car or something. That he helps. I can't even remember that one. Probably it's about some bombs or something. It's about some bombs or something they have to try and stop. But there was that. And I was just, it's really cool. And then he was obviously in the Justice League cartoon where he's played as Wally West.
Is it Barry Allen or Wally West? You like?
I think it's Wally West because I've read more comics with Wally. Again, I read Rebirth.
The comical side's pretty good. As well,
and when I got into comics with the Justice League and everything, he was the Flash. Yeah. So. He's the one that I relate to more. But obviously, like John Wesley Shipp plays Barry Allen. The CW TV show is Barry Allen. So there's a lot of Barry Allen as well. So, but it's just I just love the fact that his power set's awesome anyway. But the fact he can travel through time and the amount of things that has happened because he's done that, it's just crazy. Like the Flashpoint thing, and then he has so I'm quite surprised that Reverse Flash wasn't in your villain lineup, to be honest, Russ, because I thought
but it's only really the first season of
CW
I like, so that's why he'd probably be in my top 10. But I just love his power. So the fact he works for the police and he's like a forensic scientist and stuff. It's just a cool sort of secret identity as well to do, and I just think he's a great character.
And your favourite version?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I do like the CW show. I think they've done a good job there. Probably the the Justice League animated series version of him.
Okay. Lex Luthor. Because Lex Luthor voices him for Smallville, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, when I first read Crisis on Infinite Earth, never knew that was going to happen.
No.
My good God, it's just like, does that happen first and then Supergirl? or Supergirl than him?
I can't remember.
It's literally it's issue after the issue,
Yeah.
isn't it? And it's like, one's oh my god, and oh my god, but how he does it, because he sacrifices himself, doesn't he, in that book?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. It's
so similar to like the Wally West version, like in Young Justice. I really enjoy Wally West. You know, he's Kid Flash in that.
Yes.
He's great in that. He's really good in that as well.
Better come back for season 4.
I can't believe he wasn't back in season 3.
Yeah.
They just name dropped him so many times.
Yeah,
like he's coming back.
I think they've got to leave that for a big moment, so I kind of hope season 4's.
Yeah.
little tease for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Your 4?
My number 4 is Batgirl, Barbara Gordon.
Well, the Oracle.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it, because she's technically been like sort of 2 characters, but then she's come back now as Batgirl as well. But like when you see her in the animated series, and it's great that she's like the daughter of the commissioner, who's kind of like, I'm going to go with the Harley Quinn version where he's like best friends with Batman. But like, it's so good that like, I don't know, I just really like that aspect of like, he works with Jim, but obviously he won't tell him who he is, but Jim kind of respects him. And then he has a sidekick that is then his daughter, and then they work together. And then when like the Killing Joke, when he paralyzes her and you think, oh my God. And then, you know, she must be distraught that she can't do this amazing, you know, I remember reading one comic once where she's like, I used to be able to run off this rooftop at exactly 12 minutes past 8, and then I could grapple onto a gargoyle swing, and I know I'd land on the train because it would go past that time. And she's like, oh, I can't do that anymore because now I'm Oracle. And she misses that so much. And then like, because I've recently just borrowed off Stu again, No Man's Land. I've read through all of that. And like when you see her as Oracle through that, and then Huntress turns up and then takes the mantle of Batgirl from her, she is so pissed off with it that you can't just take that. That's my title. You can't just have that. And she's so furious with her. But then later on, Cassandra Cain comes into it, and then she then gives her a blessing. You can be the new Batgirl. Gives her modified suit that she can then become Batgirl. But I just love that you can take a character that's so, you know, she's basically the female version of Batman.
Yeah.
When she was Batgirl, but then when she became Oracle, she became this whole new character that Batman and the whole Bat family rely on, because she's got so much intel and she's so good at hacking, getting the information that they need, that I feel like without her now, they'll never be as good as they were with her. And I just love that they can take a character and transform her and make her into this other great character.
Yeah.
And
so
then
that she doesn't have to be
Yeah.
Batgirl all
Yeah,
the time.
I mean, they could have just paralysed her and just left her and been like, we're done.
Never done,
That's it,
but
yeah.
then they just find a way of bringing her back in, and she's better than she was originally.
And I mean, I don't know if this is right, but I kind of think before that, there wasn't really anyone in the chair sort of directing where things are going. And now that is like the basis of like all the CW shows, especially, and like most other things I read now. There's always like sometimes Alfred sitting there doing it, but there's always a guy in the chair.
It makes sense though, doesn't it?
HQ organising everything tactically,
and giving the other people like you know, you don't go to that bank. You know, it's wide. Redirect you and then sort out the thing. And the other thing is, I played a lot of DC Universe Online. Online game. And when you pick a hero, she is the character that introduces you to the Watchtower, tells you what to do. She's kind of like the tutorial character that narrates over. And I just love that they've used this character, and she's like the main character in that big world. They could have used anybody, but and it's the calculator if you're a villain that tells you what to do. But
of course,
yeah, I just really like that. And then I've also liked the way that they've brought her back in the New 52, and they changed her costume with the purple, and again like a visual thing. I love the way that looks, where like the cape just attaches with poppers, so they're easy to remove. Because like, what's the woman from Incredibles where she's like, no capes.
Edna Mode.
Yeah.
mode, yeah.
And it does make sense.
And
That, like it's like I don't know if you've seen the teaser picture of the new Batwoman, where she's got a big long afro, and you feel like that's going to be quite a big thing that they could easily grab in the middle of a fight. And you feel like that you could do that with a cape, couldn't you? You could stand on the cape, and then you've like kind of stopped their movement, but the way it just pops off, if that's a bit of a hindrance, I just kind of like that design. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's my number 4.
Do you know what? I never really thought much of Batgirl until I played Injustice 2, and she is like,
she was the DLC, wasn't she?
Amazing in that.
Best character, yeah.
She's freaking awesome in
and
that.
then they didn't put her in the second one. That's like,
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. So
and she's my character that I want to play the most in Gotham Knights as well.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. He likes playing female characters. It's a good thing.
Is
the rest of your list all females?
No.
Okay.
At least you're not Catwoman clawing at bombs. Yeah, it's a good choice.
So
is there a
version?
I was going to say a version.
Alicia Silverstone?
I mean, the suit up part of that film is amazing.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah.
Rewind, play.
Well, there's the rest of the movie?
Rewind, play.
I got that far?
Good God, my VCR back in the day just constantly paused on that scene.
Well, she hasn't really been in much else, has she?
No, that's the thing. But my version would be the Injustice version. I really do like her in that.
I'd
like
to
Arkham City. Was she the black and gold costume? Was that Arkham Knight?
Arkham Knight, yeah, she was DLC, she was on that Funhouse.
There's something about like the Three Jokers story I'm reading at the moment. Her suit. There's something about the grey with the yellow bat. I really like that she's got in this with like the yellow boots.
Yeah,
it's not very stealthy, but it just looks really cool. I like that.
The Batman cartoon because she becomes the sidekick before Robin does in that, and I like that she doesn't get Batman's blessing to start with, and she just kind of patrols with him. And she's got her own little... It's basically just a metal batarang on a bit of rope that she kind of flings around. Yeah. And she follows him around. And then eventually... I think it's a Maxi Zeus episode where she works with him. And then like Alfred is like, are you actually going to ever recruit her or do anything with her? And he's like, she was actually helpful in the last few episodes. So at the end, he puts the bat signal on and she turns up. He doesn't there. And then on the ledge of the building, there's like a little box with her symbol on it in purple. And she opens it up and it's got the grapple gun and her own utility belt. And she puts it on and she's like, I'm in the loop. I love that.
Utility belt. Yeah. You put things in it.
I love that cartoon when Robin comes into it and she's like, wait, you see the Batman? You see the Batcave?
Yeah, you've been in the Batmobile? What the hell? He's had training?
Yeah, he's jumped ahead of me so much.
And then literally that episode, then they're all in the car and they're driving and they're like arguing about who was in the front seat and like all this, and I'm better than you. And then all of a sudden she's like, where the hell are we? And they're literally on the entrance of the Batcave. And then, Batman jumps out, goes up, and then lifts his cowl off. And she's like, oh my God, it's Bruce Wayne. And then she's like looking at Robin and goes, that must be you or Dick Grayson. She's like, God damn it, takes his mask off. And then Dick's like, well, who are you? He goes, I'm not telling. And then Batman just walks off and goes, she's Barbara Gordon. And he's like, God damn it.
He knows everyone.
Yeah, it's great.
So you didn't like the fact that she was Uncle Alfred's niece?
Oh, in Batman and Robin. Why change it?
Yeah,
that's one of those wing things that wouldn't make any difference to the film. Why change it?
Yeah, no, it was just like because I'd read like obviously Killing Joke and whatnot. So when she's like, "Oh, actually, I'm looking for Alfred Pennyworth, Uncle Alfred," I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And I was like 15 at the time. I even knew that wasn't meant to be the case. So it's just like very weird.
Yeah, there's no point changing it for any reason.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to go into the top threes now. This is where we're going to clash.
Yeah, well, I've done my third one already.
I'll tell you, 1 and 2 is literally...
It's going to be obvious, isn't it?
They're basically on par. I had to pick one. So
I'm going to fuck you guys up because I haven't picked one of those.
Really?
No. Because I knew you guys would, so I was no point.
Oh,
okay, so you guys do your number threes because I've done my number three.
Right, so my number three, Ross, is Spider-Man.
Okay.
Is he in yours?
He's my number one.
Right, so that's what I was worried about. Yeah. Do you want to go into it then as much? Because
no, you start.
Well, no, it's Spidey, isn't it? I mean, he's the guy I again grew up with. Again, going back to the Todd McFarlane stuff and whatnot. And
I mean, the way I think Todd McFarlane, like you said, there was a Mega Drive game with Spider-Man. I think it was called The Kingpin. And on the cover of that, he's like the way he's drawn. I think that appealed to me so much again. It's the way he kind of like made each leg kind of go above the shoulders.
Yes.
And
I always found that the overuse of the webbing as well was very weird.
But it also looked very spider-like, didn't it?
Yes.
Because like spiders with all their legs go crazy and stuff. And he kind of drew it with that kind of mindset. And he was really good.
Yeah, because the first book I read Spider-wise was Spider-Man Torment, which he goes against Lizard.
Yeah.
And it was just so dark and gritty. And then when the cartoon came out, it's just like, it's totally different. This is not the Spider-Man I'm used to. But that, I think, personally, it's more the cartoon side than the comics that got me into Spider-Man. It's just like, again, it was just, this brand new show, weekly everything. It got to stories that I was so interested in. Like when he turns into a human spider.
Yes.
I mean, good fucking good. That was terrifying.
Trying to take him down.
That's right,
and then you got Blade as well, haven't you?
And then, what's the other guy who's in that? The Safari guy.
Oh, Craven,
that's it. Yes, he was in it as well. And I just thought to myself, when that came out, I was like, that would be a fucking good film.
Yes.
If they ever did that.
Yeah.
But again, it's going back to everyone likes Batman for his enemies. I like Spider-Man for his enemies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has some of the best villains, even though they weren't in my top 5. But they do. He does have some cracking.
Oh man,
Venom was in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Venom's,
Venom was in there.
I mean, you got the Sinister. You got like Sinestro. Mysterio,
Yeah,
Mysterio. Fuck me, it's tired. Mysterio, like Doc Ock, the Vulture, Rhino,
Absolutely.
Shocker. I mean, there's so many good ones.
Everything, yeah,
Scorpion, yeah,
and it's just.
I think the thing as well is when we were first watching it, we were kids, and he was the first superhero who was a kid, so you can relate to him so much. He's got normal school problems, girl problems, and then like he's still got to fight all these villains that are coming after him and stuff. And it's just, it was so good, man.
This is the thing, is just like, because like you said, he was doing that. He was doing that at night. I was getting tired watching it. It's just like, he's got to be up for school soon. I'm like,
oh, gosh, Spider-Man, you can do it.
but he would. But like, and again, he would, like in the shows, he would be tired. He'd like wake up and he'd be like, oh god,
yeah,
I'm so tired.
yeah.
And then, so I'm gonna move on to the favorite version of him.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Like the animated series from Fox that came out in '94 was fantastic, but there was part of it because he seemed so much older because they kind of started him in college, didn't they? Which is kind of weird.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I was watching at the same time was the 67 show with Nicholas Hammond. Those movies, TV show is terrible.
I think you brought this up on the other episode.
Yeah, oh my god! But like, just the first episode, you go back and watch it now. The CGI is absolutely terrible. But like him making the web shooters and trying it out on a tree and swinging, it was like so realistic back then. And then him climbing up the wall and stopping. It looks terrible now, but back as a kid when I was like 4 or 5 watching that, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. And then like then you compare it to the animated show and it's like, no, the story is just terrible. And then after that, the first thing we probably had after that was the movies. I would say.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire ones.
Tobey Maguire. The first one, I like the first one, but I cannot stand Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
That's fair.
Like his Peter Parker is very much accurate to 30s and the 40s version of him, which I think in the modern world doesn't work. He seems quite slow in the head to me when I'm watching him as Peter Parker. But Spider-Man, him as Spider-Man is the worst thing it's in my history for me.
That's fine.
I absolutely hate. Like the thing that I loved about the comics, and especially the Ultimate Comics, is his humor.
Yeah,
I love his humor, and he's probably got about 5 or 6 quips in the whole of the trilogy, and they're all awful, absolutely terrible. So then, when you move on to Andrew Garfield being Spider-Man, his Peter Parker is a bit too confident and a bit too good looking. But I can understand maybe why they changed it just so it was different to Tobey Maguire's. But his Spider-Man, his personality is spot on in my opinion. And then you have Tom Holland, who I feel like is a mixture between the two. I think his Peter Parker is very, very good. He's got that awkwardness, but he's got a little bit of confidence, and it works. And his Spider-Man, again, he's got the quips, he's got the way he moves and everything is obviously much better because of the CGI and everything. But the thing that I don't like about his Spider-Man is he's more Iron Man boy.
Yes, okay,
Yeah, with all the tech.
Yeah, where like in the comics, he loves Cap more than he does Iron Man.
Yeah,
he
builds the stuff himself.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like that they took, because when they bring him into Civil War, he is, what does Tony call him? He's like a garbage. He takes all the, because he can't afford it. He steals all the throwaway
trash can.
Yeah,
Director or something.
I can't remember the phrase he calls him. But he builds all his suit and everything, and then and then like Tony just builds an amazing suit, and it has all this tech in it.
It has an AI in it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's great, and it's definitely a way of modernising it. But I don't like it as much as showing Peter with his, like they did it quite well at the end of Far From Home, where he
builds his own, doesn't he?
He builds his own version of the suit, and he's like kind of like goes above Tony when he does that. So I kind of like it for that, but
I quite like in
they haven't quite nailed him 100%.
In Amazing Spider-Man, where he got the powers and he was like practicing with stuff, and he was actually googling like what's the best for aerodynamics. He's like spandex, like really, like that kind of stuff.
And the thing about the Tobey Maguire, I didn't like the organic webbing.
Oh, yeah,
either.
no.
That was a bit weird. I know originally they had it,
Yeah.
but then due to 9/11 they had to change it around, and I think for time's sake they cut it out.
That was James Cameron's idea, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
he was meant to direct it.
Yeah, but there is a scene when he drops. I think I talked about this in the last one where he blatantly runs around a trampoline. She
Yes.
runs around a
Yeah.
trampoline. But if you pause that scene and they're standing next to each other on that balcony, he's standing. You can see the web shooter on his hand, on his left hand. 'Cause it's still there.
I
So
never
obviously
knew
that was
that.
one of the earliest shots. Go back and watch it, and you'll see like the little tube thing sticking
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I like the way they still, because even though he's got a tech suit in the Tobey Maguire, and he still has those web shooters. The way you sort of can throw them on and they
Yes.
go around it is
Plus,
really
I
cool.
don't like the fact Tobey Maguire loses his powers when he gets depressed and has
Yeah.
troubles.
yeah, that was a weird
That was
thing.
so gay.
My back.
But the quip thing I totally agree about, because there's in Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, there's a bit where the Venom suit like keeps taking him out.
Yes.
And
Yeah, he's asleep.
Yeah, he's
and the
asleep,
Venom
and the
suit
suit's
takes
fighting
out.
him, and he literally fights the Sinister Six, and he doesn't say anything because he's obviously asleep.
And he beats the crap
That's
out
one of my
him as
favourite
well.
storylines, Sinister Six.
Yeah, and Dr. Octopus is like, we finally got you to shut up, because all he ever did was talk, and he talks to annoy people more than anything, to sort
Well,
of
there's
piss
two
them off.
reasons. He does it because he was a kid and he's nervous.
Yeah.
So he talks to try and sort of calm himself down. And then he realizes that when I talk to these people, I'm distracting them and it gets me one up. So it's got like a double meaning for it. But yeah, like you say, when Doc Ock is like, I knew you were getting serious because you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And then you find out that he wakes back up in his bed and he doesn't remember anything because he was asleep and it was the
He's
Venom
just in
suit.
pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. But
And-
I think that's my favourite version of Spider-Man as well.
What's your favourite comic version of Spidey?
Oh.
Like Spectacular, Amazing, 2099.
I actually really like the Ultimate version.
Okay.
Some of the stories that they changed, especially with like Gwen, was a bit weird, and Goblin being a bit of a, he was an actual big menacing monster goblin. But the way they portrayed his character, and I liked him telling Mary Jane pretty much from the off that he was Spider-Man. I really like that dynamic of it, and that's what I really like about the PlayStation game as well, where they kind of work together, and she still goes off crazily on her own because she's a bit more of a reporter in that. But I'm so looking forward to the Miles Morales Spider-Man version.
Did you ever play Shattered Dimensions?
Yes.
That was my favourite Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Up until obviously the new PS4 one came
Yeah.
out. But good God, that was just incredible. Just the different versions.
Yeah.
You had 29 in there,
Noir.
and
Ultimate.
Ultimate in
Yeah.
there. The
And-
Ultimate section, and that was just the graphics at the time.
Yeah.
were
Yeah, I
freaking
really liked.
awesome.
There was one that came out on Xbox and PlayStation.
Edge of Time?
Yeah. No. The one before that was when you could switch between the black suit and the normal suit just when you were swinging by pushing.
Web of Shadows.
Web of Shadows. I really enjoyed that one. That was a great story
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, you could literally just swing along and you'd be like, go into the black suit. It just would more fun to you, and you could start swinging more and like beat more people up and stuff. It was great.
Because the guy that voices Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man is Josh Keaton, and he's the one that did the Ultimate Spider-Man in Shattered Dimensions, and then he also does the amazing version in the game after that, Edge of Time. And like, you'll probably talk about it. I mean, you might not talk about this later, but like where whenever you read a comic, you always have somebody's voice in your head. And ever since I've watched that show, he is the voice of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic at it. Yeah. And
Going back to what you were saying about Toby, where he has all the little quick quirks and what doesn't have as many.
Yeah.
It's like in the
here's
books.
your change.
It's like in the books. Yeah, he constantly talks to himself a
Yeah,
lot.
monologuing, yeah.
Monologuing a lot, and obviously did in the cartoons as well. And I
Yes.
thought, yeah, come on, they need to do a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
Tom Holland's character says it out a few, like, "Oh, you got a metal armor and all that sort of
And
stuff."
they've also got
whatnot.
the AI that he can kind of talk to, so you can get the kind of what he's thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is quite a good way of doing it. But also, like the beginning of Amazing Spider-Man 2, where you kind of had the plane scene with his parents, and then it literally cuts to the logo, and then it fades out to him falling.
That's right,
And
yeah.
then he's swinging out, and I just love it when he's swinging around, and then it literally you hear him. There's a bit with a helicopter, and he swings by it, and you just hear him say, "All right, New York, what have you got for me this morning?" And then it's like literally the truck with the rhino, and I'm like, "Yes, they've nailed that character right there and then."
Yeah, even when he's talking to the Rhino character and stuff as well,
Yeah, I just
quipping him.
Yeah, that's what I like about Spider. I like the humor, and the Tobey Maguire doesn't have
Absolutely,
it. Like the train sequence in 2 is, whenever I read online, it's always in the top 5 moments of Spider-Man. But you watch the whole scene, it doesn't say anything, and I'm like,
Sorry, yeah,
and
it's a fantastic scene, but yeah, you're absolutely
yeah,
right.
I mean it is. I mean, yeah, visually it's amazing, but
I guess
I prefer the version with Stewart in it. Like.
I guess because he's more serious because Doc Ock's kidnapped Mary Jane, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have time to be quippy. He's like,
Yeah.
"Where is she?
Yeah, but you'd have thought he'd at least ask us something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything. And
true.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know that's all of that CGI because it's another team making it and they haven't got the actor there to say, right, can you say some lines and put it in?
Yeah.
It kind of like, it breaks the magical
for the
part
character,
of it.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame. Like you said, they're all good in their own way, but Spidey hasn't
I'm hoping
had
that
any justice in film wise.
The rumor isn't it, that they're all going to be in the next one?
Yes.
3 of them.
Yeah.
So that'd be great to see that.
Yeah. How do you feel about this whole, Spider-Man villains having their own films now?
It's weird, isn't it? Because it wasn't.
Morbius was meant to be out this year, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that actually looked quite interesting. I've got to admit,
which is the Joker, isn't it? It's Jared Leto, isn't it?
Yeah. The trailer looks pretty good, and it's actually part. It's a Sony film. It's part of the MCU because Michael Keaton's in it as Vulture.
Yeah,
in the trailer.
Right. It's a picture of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on the wall.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it goes back to the bad guys being, Morbius wasn't meant to be a bad guy. It's
Again, he just does it because of what happened to him.
Experiment go wrong.
So that's my 3. Sorry, that's your number
that's
1. Right. You've done your 3.
Done my 3.
What's your number 3, sir?
Mine is Superman.
That's my number 1. Here we go.
I knew you two were going to have that. That's why I didn't bother putting either of them in. I was like, we're not going to come on.
Yeah. Mine was obvious though. Come on.
Yeah.
I was hoping. I was hoping it wasn't Spider-Man was going to be your number 1, but technically it was.
Well, like I said, my number 1 and 2 are pretty much even. I couldn't really pick, but I ended up just picking it.
Yeah.
I just chose one for the other. I honestly thought your number 1 was going to be slightly different. Maybe it's your number 2. So we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Superman.
Superman. I mean, he's the first comic book superhero, really, isn't he?
So he's the guy.
He has to be up there. But I feel like
that started it all.
The thing that made me really like the character is the Christopher Reeve version was the very first thing I ever saw of Superman. I think it might have even been the very first comic book thing I ever saw as well. But the other thing that I liked is Christopher Reeve, when he's in those movies, he looks like my dad when I was watching them.
Okay.
So I feel like that's probably
your dad's Superman?
Yeah.
Like a little Tesla thing.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of... everyone's hero is like their dad. So when you see that and then you see a guy look like your dad fly around and do these crazy things, it just emphasizes it a lot more. But then there's been so many different versions of Superman, and I always come back to the Christopher Reeve version. It's still my favorite, even though the story is a little bit weird and it's very 70s and there's a lot of things wrong with it. Superman is perfect in that movie for me, and I feel like every version is trying to copy what, or at least get the essence of that character from that movie.
Wasn't it your number 1 in a recent episode?
Yeah,
the movie. Sorry.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, so that would be why.
Yeah.
But
he's a great character. The fact that he's got all these powers and he's an alien and sort of he's
not a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's sort of story about him being the last son of Krypton and everything, and how he's had to grow up, all that stuff. He's just so.
And then all the other heroes look up to him as well.
Yeah,
they're like, what would Superman do in this situation? Like especially with the Justice League, when there was when Superman's not around, they're like, Superman wouldn't do that, so we shouldn't.
He's like the big hitter of the team as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and
massively.
But then when you got the Brandon Routh version, where it was kind of like a continuation of those films. Well, they kind of erased 3 and 4, which is
for the best. Yeah,
I like 3.
Like 3, we quote 3 all
both
the time.
keys at the same time.
Jesus Christ! Don't call me a bum. I'm not a bum.
that Junkyard fight when it's Clark versus Superman is awesome.
Evil Superman is that's probably the only decent part.
Yeah,
of it.
It's like the first version of Bizarro, isn't it?
Really? Yeah.
But what's the bit where the drunk guy turns up with Brad is like the security guy.
Oh yeah.
And then Richard Pryor turns up and he's like, we're in big trouble, aren't we? And then he opens up the big bar thing and he's like, come right in. He goes, follow me. I'm right behind you. You thought I was drunk too, didn't you? And he's starting to get scared by his own reflection. But he can understand why they got in. But Brandon Routh, I feel like he was hard done by. Because he
had a lot of boots.
He was trying to manipulate somebody that was on such high standard. Just make your own version.
Yeah.
And when they did with Kingdom Come in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, he was so much better.
Oh yeah.
He was
so good. He looked great, and he was just it was like the perfect, because again it was a homage to Christopher Reeve, but in the right way.
Yeah. It was like a continuation, but different. So it kind of worked, didn't it? And then we had the Dean Cain version,
That's my childhood too.
Yeah, I used to love that.
I always thought Dean Cain was a better Clark Kent than Superman.
Yeah, well, the thing I loved about that show is he did a lot of stuff as Clark Kent.
Yeah,
well, it was called Clark and Lois, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
it was like the there was a lot of story about him being Clark and like living there, and when he used to go and do like investigating stuff with Lois, he'd always use his powers to like look through stuff
try and hide,
break stuff and stuff, rather than him just having to go and be Superman all the time.
Yeah,
Superman.
well, the way that like Chris
Budget. Yeah, exactly.
The way that Chris played it was like he made Clark a bumbling idiot, so that you would never associate him with Superman, but that wouldn't really work as a TV show where you're trying to follow Clark around, would it? Because Clark Kent's not really in the movies; it's a Superman.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
It? But when you got a show, you have to have him a bit more wise and a bit more sensible, don't you? So yeah, it kind of works.
I kind of like the twist on Smallville where they did it where when he started working on Daily Planet, Lois was like, "Look, you need to be less confident and like be a shit like that. No one recognizes you. Yeah, glasses on. Yeah, so basically, be someone that is not rememberable.
You need to be invisible.
Yeah, basically. I thought that was quite a clever twist on why he was like that.
I love Smallville as well.
Oh yeah,
that was one of my favourites of all time. Yeah.
I mean the filler episodes sometimes are a little bit. I'm going to skip this one. And the Witches episodes was a
not
bit,
every TV series. There's always this episode that's worth skipping.
But whenever it's like definitely the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, the end of the season, when they talk about his lore and everything Kryptonian, man, I just loved every second of that, man. And then it finished off so well as well. I was afraid that they would never.
Well, when Lex left after season 6, I think that's when it started to deteriorate. But the end, they knew they were working up to an ending, didn't they?
They brought in Zod and Doomsday.
Yeah, exactly. So they filled its boots somehow with other stuff. I think Darkseid comes as a cloud or something in it. He's like the place that poisoned Smallville or something.
And then John Glover takes over and he's like the essence of Darkseid.
That's right, yeah.
And then that's when he flies through him for the first time.
Oh man, the moment where like he's in the barn, isn't it? And John Glover like pushes him back, and he goes like that, and
then he goes through the whole.
He flies. I remember I was sitting there watching on my laptop in my lounge in my flat with an ex-girlfriend. I just was like this, and I just went, "He's flying!" He was like arms up in the air, screaming, and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" I was like, "He's fucking flying!"
10 years.
It's taken him 8 years.
Yeah, 10 years. I mean, you saw him like way earlier on when he was Kal-El, and he got brainwashed and he could fly, and he never did it again. I was just, oh my fuck! And then he gets the suit from his dad in the fortress and stuff. I'm just like, oh my god.
And the one thing I love that Lois was the first person that saw him as well on the plane. Yeah, I love that. It was so good.
It was.
I remember. I think it's episode 2 or 3, season 1, where he gets his heat vision, but he gets it because he's horny.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
I swear it was for Kelly Brook as well. Who I would.
She was
in it, but it wasn't her.
It wasn't her. Okay.
Yeah, because she's like Lex Luthor's girlfriend.
Isn't it like a sex ed video in class or something? And he burns like the projector or whatever.
The fact they dealt with all his powers like developing as they went, and like X-ray vision and all that kind of stuff.
It's great to see him kind of, because he was like, his eyes were closed from then onwards, wasn't he? Because he was like, I'm going to hurt somebody, and then his dad's like, no, think about what you were thinking of, and then and he had to learn how to use it. And they did that with virtually every season, every time he got an ability, wasn't it? It was really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when he sneezed and he blew the barn door off, and like Lois is running along going, what?
And it's just that you knew Jonathan was going to go, but then when he did go, mate,
the way it went, because it was Clark's fault as well, because he saved Lana. Wasn't it? It was something along the lines of, it was Lana died, and then what happened? Something happened, and he goes, you can save her, but something else is going to happen.
Right.
He goes, I don't care.
It was a choice,
I don't care. Yeah.
It starts off before that. It's in end of season 2. He puts the red ring on and then leaves for Metropolis.
Oh yeah, no. And Jonathan
goes to Jor-El and says, "I need the ability to be able to stop my son and bring him back home." And that's what deteriorates his heart.
Yes.
And then later on, Lana dies, and he changes it, and then his dad dies.
Yeah. Who makes that decision? Is that
Jonathan does?
Jor-El again. How does he go back? Lana dies. How does he jump back to stop that from happening?
Clark goes to Jor-El.
Jor-El
and
pushes
says,
him back.
I need you to. He goes, you can do it, but something else will happen instead. And he goes, I'll take those consequences.
Yeah, I don't care. And then his dad dies. I cried at that so much. That was heartbreaking. Because it's similar to like your favourite film when Jonathan dies from a heart attack when he's just running with Clark as a kid, and he goes, "Oh no, not now." And Clark's like, he can't save him. He's got all these powers and he can't do it. It's so heartbreaking.
When he's talking to his mum at the funeral, he's like, all those powers and I couldn't even save him.
Yeah,
and it's great.
And I kind of like the Man of Steel one as well. The where Jonathan sort of says, "No,
stop,
don't expose yourself.
Don't do it for me. It's you're more important." That makes me well up every time as well. When I watch that. That was so well done.
Every time Jonathan goes, no matter what film, it's like it's coming.
Every time, mate. He's just such an important character to Clark.
Yeah.
Just very quickly as to why I like it. Then one of it's the mythology. I know superhero has a mythology to it, but I just freaking love Superman's. And going up to what you were saying, Ross, earlier about, you know, you looking up to your dad as a superhero sort of thing. I think my parents kind of brought me up to like very much like Jonathan and Martha. You know, I used to be the kid that get bullied at school and whatnot and come home with black eyes, and my parents would be like, look, you're better than this, you'll grow up to be better and all that. And that's how I looked at Superman. You know, I wanted to be him. I wanted to be big and strong just like him.
The fact that he could have like obviously punched someone and killed him, and he had to restrain himself.
This is it, exactly.
So I think Man of Steel did so well is when they showed him so well that he, like when that kid was bullying him and he was holding the pipe and he's squeezing stuff, and he's like, you can't do that. And then he has these Kryptonians come to Earth who are military trained, and he has to fight them. He's never had to fight in his life.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
But you've also got that guy in the bar that throws the beer at him.
Yeah,
he doesn't do anything, and then he throws his truck in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's just it's pretty much the reason for it, and then everything else that everyone's put into it already.
If like a genie came at you or somebody and said like you can be any superhero in the world,
Superman.
He'd be Superman without
hands down,
any
hands down.
hesitation.
Without doubt.
Yeah,
hands down, mate.
Because there's no real magic and no kryptonite on this Earth, so I'd be fucking stuffable.
Or maybe Superman with a Green Lantern ring.
yeah, definitely.
But then you still got the thing I talked about last time, where in this world you would have people trying to meet you, wouldn't they? They'd be throwing themselves off buildings. You wouldn't be able to save them.
Absolutely. If people knew about it, of course they would,
It would be a nightmare, but you'd still want it.
That was a very good point, because you mentioned that about Man of Steel, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it never crossed my mind until that movie, and I think about it.
It was in the Supergirl TV show, wasn't it? There's a cult of people that throw themselves off of buildings expecting Supergirl to catch them so they can meet her.
Yeah, actually, you going back to what you were saying about how everyone looks up to Superman, there's a I can't remember what episode it is. It's season 1 or season 2 of Supergirl. Supergirl's like really depressed and whatnot, and she emails Clark. Yes. And Clark's always that character who's always the person that has something heartwarming to say back.
Yes.
You know, something that will encourage you, inspire you to carry on your day. You know, everything's going to be all right, sort of thing.
But that's the great thing.
And that's what I love about him. It's another thing I love about him.
That's his human side
as well,
exactly. Whether he's brought up with Mara and Parker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's... also in Smallville is one of my favourite things is when Chloe follows him in the cave and they end up at the Fortress of Solitude in the North Pole. And then she says, she's like freezing cold. He goes, like, just run. I know you're Superman. And then he takes her to the hospital. And then they're watching on TV and they found out another tornado. No, it was another meteor strike has hit Smallville. Yeah. And he sees his farm and it's got the thing. And she's like, you need to go. And he rushes off and they're like, the thing was up. But the thing that before that is when she says because he's always afraid in that show that what people are going to think of him, he's an alien. Yes. And they're not like, and then when she says to him, if all humans were like you, the world would be a better place. And I love that line. Absolutely. It's one of the best lines in that show. Good line. They got that 100%. Yeah. So
good choice. That was your number 3, wasn't it?
My number 3, yes.
That's my number 1. Your number 2, sir.
And my number 2, I'll show you guys, is Batman.
Yeah, it's my number 2.
It's my number 2 as well.
Oh, Ron's number 2. It's not my number 1.
Yeah. So after this, we go straight back to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, cool. All right, sweet.
But like I said, though, my number 1 and 2 are pretty much even. I couldn't... Spider-Man and Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't really choose. It depends on the mood. If there's a movie or a TV show that's come out, it kind of switches my mind. But those two are...
I mean, my number 1 and number 2, I've kind of cheated a little bit, but let's do Batman first.
I think I know who your number 1 is because he was my number 5 and I took him off.
Really? Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Now I'm intrigued.
Me too. I don't know if it's the same. Okay. Batman. I mean, I mentioned it 100 times before. Batman the animated series got me into it, and then I know Russ hates them, but Michael Keaton's Batman films as a kid.
The first one I actually quite like.
Yeah.
There are problems with it, but I do like that. It was. I think that and the animated series again is what made me love the characters.
Yeah. It's just again and having
still the best Batmobile.
Yeah, Batman. Yeah, Batman is definitely the best. And just similar to what you said about Spider-Man, he has the greatest rose gallery.
Yes,
I know we spoke about this in the comic book thing, where it's just like the fact he's got so many good bad guys makes him such a good hero, and he doesn't have any powers. Like his tragic backstory, he's doing this so that
gives him all the great stories, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's just all the time. Ever since I've been a kid, I've been collecting Batman comics, and every single story. I mean, if we did a top 5 comic book stories, most of them would be Batman.
Yes.
I hate to say it because
that's true.
They have the best. He has the best stories to tell. Because I guess relate to him as in he's human. I wouldn't relate to him by
he's rich.
What he's got. Yeah, and he's damn rich. That's why you want to be him. But
I want a butler as well.
And I just again, he's just that character that he's just awesome. He's just if you had to pick a superhero you want to be, it wouldn't be him because you want to be Superman because you get the powers. But
but what you do is you be Superman, but then dress up as Batman, and then when you're like talking to Jim Gordon, you can quickly out the thing.
True.
And then if you turned up right now in this Earth and you put on a Batman suit and pretend to be Batman and you grappled around, but you were actually Superman, no one would assume you were an alien that had all these superpowers. They just think you're a human that you trained so well that, and you can get away with it.
True,
very
right?
cool. He just like his moral code. He follows all the despair he's had to go through, and he still won't break.
Yeah,
and all the stuff like I've read recently in the comics that he has to deal with. He's just awesome. He's just such a cool character that I love reading about, and I'm never going to stop reading about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all the toys.
And all of the where does he get those wonderful toys?
Why is he in your top?
Why is it in mine?
Because he's Batman.
Same thing, but the other thing that I really like is when I read his comics, I love the atmosphere of Gotham.
Okay.
I don't know, there's something about when it's pouring down with rain, it's pitch black, you see gargoyles on like the rooftops and stuff,
buildings.
and like him just, when it's just him on his own, or he's with Robin or Nightwing or whoever, and he's just sitting there and he's like, they're patrolling Gotham and like they're like looking down and like figuring out who's robbing the bank, whatever, and then they work out and they go in, especially like with like Young Justice, where there's an episode where the you see them all. You see Wonder Woman working with Wonder Girl and Martian Manhunter working with Miss Martian. They're all talking and trying to do. The Bat family walk in. They don't even say anything. They just land and go, and they just work as a team. It's so good.
Maneuver 7.
Yeah, and it's just like Batman has just trained them so well, and he's just such a great character. Yeah, that's
reasons in mind.
He's also been in a lot of pop culture over the years.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. I mean,
he's probably had the most movies. I guess.
Absolutely,
It's like 8 or 9, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. He obviously had the 66 TV show. And all
you
that
can't
kind of
count the X-Men with Wolverine all the time because...
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Spy, because obviously you've had Spider-Man movies, you've had 5, 6, 7, you had 7 of them. So yeah, but I would say he's had the most movies about him.
Yeah, I mean, I got into him when I believe Channel 4 used to play the Adam West ones. So that's how I knew about Batman.
Yeah, and I used to watch the movie was on quite regularly when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
I watched that a lot.
Because I was too young. I think I was 7 by the time that movie came out. But you couldn't get past... You knew the movie was coming. And, I had sticker albums, I had toys of it. I never saw the movie. But when I finally got to watch it, I was like, holy shit, this is like fucking incredible. And then that's when I really started to get into Batman by comic-wise. I mean, I think, like you said, Killing Joke was... one of my first I ever read, because I didn't really get into Superman until very much later on.
I think one of my first one was Nightfall. So it's the story of when
that's when he breaks his back.
Yeah, so there's 3. There's like Broken Bat Part 1 and 2. Then there's Nightfall. So Nightfall's when he comes back.
Yeah,
and Azrael's Batman, and basically killing people, and he has to come back.
I was going to say someone else takes his suit,
and I never read the first 2 for ages. I just read this Dark Knight one. I was just like, what the hell's this? And you've got Robin and Tim Drake and stuff in Gotham trying to stop this Batman, and Batman's being rehabilitated by Lady Shiva and stuff. And then I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And reading through it, and then he comes back in his suit and he has to try and stop Azrael. And it's such a cool story. I was like, what the hell did I have to buy the previous 2? And if you look at my comic book collection in my man cave, most of it's Batman graphic novels.
Yeah.
There's a good chunk of Green Lantern, good chunk of Superman, but most of it's Batman. It's just, there's so many great stories. Like the Hush one, that is obviously one of the best ones as well.
I could say he's the guy that got me into comic books at the end of the day. I mean, I had a cousin who got me into comics, but as a character, he's the guy that got me into start reading them and whatnot. So he has to go in there regardless.
There's even like little kid Ladybird books. When you were a kid, I had 2 of them as a Penguin one and a Joker one as a kid. I actually bought them for my daughter to read to her now. And there's actually 4 of them we read them quite regularly. But they're quite, I'd say they're dark, but there's like quite cool stuff in there. So the old sort of 70s suit with the blue cape and the big yellow badge and the grey suit and stuff, which is one of my favourite looks of him.
That was my next question. Was what's your favourite look? I
mean,
Hush. Yeah, Hush is on. I mean, this 3 Joker.
That's the grey and black, isn't it?
It's like dark blue. Yeah, dark blue. He's got the black bat symbol without the yellow. I mean, I like the sort of 70s, 80s look with the yellow sort of symbol because it's one of the first things I read. Hush 100% is one of my favourites. I really love Ben Affleck's suit as well. I think they've done a really good job with that. But I mean, again, it's going really modern on it. The Rebirth suit they've got at the moment for him is really cool, and also this Three Jokers one that I'm reading at the moment. This guy has taken elements from all different bat suits and turned it into this awesome Batman costume. It's like black cape, cowl and cape, and then grey. But the belt's from the '89 show.
Yeah,
the cowl's from the '89 film. The badge is from probably something like Earth 1 or Batman Incorporated. So it's the yellow symbol, but it lights up. So there's like a torch and stuff. It just looks awesome. So
nice. So it's a bit of everything, really.
Yeah, that's why I like it. Like looking at it, I'm just like, geez, I love that. That's awesome. Yes, like it, brilliant. So yeah, good stuff.
Mine's Hush.
Oh, it was Hush, sorry, yeah.
Definitely Hush.
And because you don't like Keaton, who's your favourite Batman? It doesn't matter.
I mean, Kevin Conroy is the voice I hear. Him or the guy who does Young Justice. His name Bruce Greenwood.
Marcus Greenwood.
Yeah.
He's my favourite voice. I love Kevin Conroy's voice, but there's something about Marcus Greenwood's voice. It's got this husky growl to it when he's just talking, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I really like what he looks like in Young Justice as well. I think he looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's very similar to Under the Red Hood, isn't it?
Live action wise, oh man, like Keaton, I do like Keaton's one, but I don't like his receding hairline, curly hair, and he's too short.
Hey, it was 1989.
I know.
And he wears glasses.
I saw a picture the other day where they lined up all the Batmans next to each other in scale. And like he's only a little bit taller than the Lego one.
Bloody hell.
I mean, I quite like Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne in the Batman Forever thing.
Yeah.
But glasses again.
I think with George Clooney's one looks like the New Adventures of Batman. You just take them side by side. He looks just like a live action. But like Ben Affleck's one, his Bruce Wayne is pretty much animated series. And all you have to do is maybe slim down the suit a little bit, make the badge a bit smaller, get rid of the gold bits on the toes and the knuckles, and you've got the perfect bat suit visually, in my opinion.
Nice. So we're going to come down to your number ones.
My number one. So this is half cheating, but for a character, this is the one that I love the most. Is Dick Grayson.
Yeah, that was my number 5.
That was your number 5, yeah.
It was going to be yours.
Yeah. So
now explain why. So explain who Dick Grayson is to everyone.
So who doesn't
pretty
much.
Comics.
I just love Dick. That's really
that's what you always say in Titans.
So yeah, he does. So
penis.
Yeah. So so Dick Grayson is the first Robin. So he's the original Robin who then moves on to become Nightwing. And I guess was when I started reading comics, it was literally at the point where he was leaving to become Nightwing. I just I don't know if it's weird to say to relate to the character, but seeing because my age was similar to that, and he was like, he sees Batman as sort of a father figure at that time, just kind of took me away with it. I was just like, yes, I relate more to Robin than I do to Batman when I'm reading the things. And I love his journey to become Nightwing, and the fact that the reason he does that is because he doesn't want the whole point of it originally was, I guess Batman was training him to replace him. At some point, I'm going to probably die in the field. You need to take on the mantle of the Batman. And he gets to a point where he's like, I don't want to do that. So he leaves to become his own thing, and he becomes Nightwing. And there's this comic book run, which is one of my favourites, which came out a few years ago, around the time of Blackest Night, where Bruce Wayne's dead. So in a Final Crisis, I think he gets hit by the Mega Beams by Darkseid, and he dies, but goes back in time, but dies. And Dick has to take on the mantle of Batman, and he doesn't want to. There is a whole comic book where it's called Battle of the Cow, where Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and Dick are going at it, and basically that Tim and Jason want to say, "Well, I should be Batman," and Dick's like, "No, no one is. We do it without him. We don't need him." And he turns out he works out in the end that needs to be a Batman, and he takes it on. And he begins with he doesn't like it. He doesn't want to wear the clothes and everything. And he's just
got to work with Damian. That's
and also Batman's son Damian Wayne has come on board as well, and he has to try and work with him, and he's a little twerp. But they get to a point where those two start working together and become really good friends. And by the end of it, a lot later on, once Bruce is back and he's back as Nightwing, there's a bit where Damian dies or is about to die, and Damian actually says that like Dick's more of a mentor than Bruce is and stuff. And he's just such a great character. He's got all these. He makes such a big difference. So he obviously went out with Barbara, and like they're sort of like best friends now. And she looks up to him, and he's more of a in some ways, there's been comic books and stuff written where even Bruce has said that he's a better Batman than
he'll ever be
because he hasn't got that torture of the way his parents died on him. His parents did get killed, but they weren't in front of him the same way. So he rather than taking revenge out by being Batman, he did it a different way. And he's great. And he becomes a cop at one point in Bloodhaven and does that as a secret identity. And
which they do in Titans, didn't they?
Yes.
He's got so much history, hasn't he?
Yeah, which
you would never have thought though, because as soon as you mentioned that, he's like, oh, he's Robin. That's it.
He's a psychic. Yeah, that's what most people think. Because Dick Grayson, he's a psychic. Blah, blah, blah. And I think they're doing quite a good job with him in Titans, sort of showing. They did quite a really good job of showing the despair of Tony Zuko, and then hit this dark path he's gone on because he let Tony Zuko die, and now he's come back to sort of full circle and stuff. That's why I think that's why I like. I mean, I love the other characters in the show, but the main reason I watch that show is for Dick Grayson. Yeah. It's his Dick Grayson show, and it's absolutely amazing. So he's my number one. I thought most people, because I'm a massive Batman fan, but in when I was looking at this list and thinking about it, I was actually like, I'm more of a Dick Grayson fan than I am a Batman fan, which seems weird.
He's also doing really well in Young Justice, where he starts off as Robin.
Yes.
And he realises, like, it's when that episode where there's a training sequence and they all go link minds with McGahn.
Yes.
And
they all die, basically.
Yeah, yes. Is it Artemis dies first in this training sequence? And it's to see how they would cope. It was Martian Manhunter's idea. And then I think it's Artemis dies. And McGahn, even though she's controlling them all and putting them in this world, she believes it so much that everybody else believes it. And then everyone slowly starts dying off and they don't wake up because it's so real, because her powers are more powerful than Martian Manhunter's.
Yeah.
And at the end of the next episode, because like their sort of mentor is kind of like Black Canary, and she just talks to them one-on-one like a psychiatrist. And that's when Robin realises that I don't want to be Batman. I want to be my own person.
Yeah.
And then in the next season, he becomes Nightwing and he leads them all. And he's such a good leader in that. And he kind of organises who goes on which team and which mission. And he like makes Tim go on his first mission as the leader. And he's such a good person, because like the Justice League are out. So he's kind of in charge, isn't he? And it's
again, in the comics, when Tim Drake becomes Robin, he uses Nightwing as Nightwing comes back in quite a lot of the comics.
Yeah.
And Tim's there as like he's like a brother sort of figure to him, and he like supports him as well. He pretty much keeps the family together a lot more than Batman.
So it's amazing they've done so much more with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Robin,
I think that's the whole thing about the Bat family. Like Batgirl, same as Batgirl, was same with Ross. Like every single one of them, even Jason Todd to a point of like the Robin that died has now come back and he was a bad guy for a long time. Now he's a good guy again. And Tim Drake as well. The whole Bat family have all got such great histories in their own right. They're not just sidekicks.
Yeah.
Where someone like, I don't know, you could say like someone like Superboy is just like he doesn't have much of a backstory. They haven't developed him a lot.
There's a lot. Speedy didn't come out that much after Robin, did he? And he has never been as great as Dick Grayson.
No, same as like Kid Flash, because he turned
the heroin addict you're talking about.
yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, no, but like, I guess some of the things like all the sidekicks don't really get a lot, because most of them become what they were. So like Wally West was Kid Flash,
but
and
he
becomes
doesn't
the
want
Flash.
to be that one.
But the fact that they changed that, and he was like, it was always the plan that he was going to be. Then they just drifted apart, and he was like, I don't need this. There's a comic I'm reading. They've done like the animated series. In the animated series, they had that gap where they changed the artwork and he became Nightwing. There's a comic book out at the moment because they brought it back of what he did, and there's this cool little moment where he leaves the Robin suit in the Batcave and leaves, and Bruce Wayne's like, "Good, like that's what you need to do." He totally gets it. He's not like he doesn't try and fight it, and then he comes back a year later and he's just like,
I'm Nightwing. Yeah,
and also, I mean, there's another awesome bit in it that he was actually meant to be like the Court of Owls. He was meant to be the next Talon.
No way.
So the Haley Circus was like a front for the Court of Owls, and they were training up the younger generation to become the next lot of Talons. And if his parents didn't die and Bruce took him, he was going to be the Talon.
Shit. So nice little backstory.
Because his DNA, it's something along the lines of his DNA's somewhere in something.
Hot owl.
Yeah. And Bruce Wayne's like, why is your DNA here? And he's like, they just investigate and they find out that actually you were meant to be part of the Talons. It's just like,
that's why he was named after a bird and he hoots.
That's crazy, man.
Exactly.
It's so clever though, is how they put it all into one.
Yes,
and I think it's the character you want to be in Gotham Knights, isn't it?
100%.
I was going to say, because they're in it, aren't they? The Court of Owls.
Yeah.
You got so the Gotham Knights is going to be me and Russ playing it all the freaking time. It's like, you can play as 4 characters.
Waiting for the multiplayer to be like, we're going to be Batman.
It's a multiplayer campaign.
Oh, is it the whole thing?
The whole
Oh, I
game.
didn't
You can
realise
jump.
it
You
was
can
that.
jump in and out of like whenever you want. So you can play it solo, or you can have someone else jump in.
Oh,
and
I didn't
help.
realise that.
It's going to
I
be
thought it was a
so
solo
good.
thing only.
Yeah, a lot of people are bitching around because you can't be Batman in it, but you're because he's dead, like quotation marks. He's
Yeah,
but then you've got the other four of them as the Bat family, and you can choose any one of them and do these missions. It's going
I'm
to be
sure
like,
Batman would be a DLC or something.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the Court of Owls, isn't it? He could be undercover in there. There's loads of things that could be happening, but it's going to be such a cool game.
He could be the head talent.
I mean, you could be brainwashed. You never. I mean, that would be an awesome twist, right? I'm also quite shocked Shazam was not in your top 5.
Yeah, that's what I thought was
Well,
going to be number one.
the thing is that he was in there, but then again, Shazam is the sort of thing I've only recently got into when the first Injustice came into it. I mean, I knew of the character, but I never really, got into it as much. And then when I started beating you guys in Injustice, that's when I got into the guy. And then obviously I loved the movie. I was so close to him being in the top 5, but he's number 6 at the end of the day. So spoiler alert. If we're in the top 10, he'll
We'll
be
have
in
to
the
do
top
it
10.
again after Black Adam and Shazam 2 comes out.
This
Then
is
he might
it.
change your
This
mind.
is it.
Sounds
He might knock off Cyclops or something.
Awesome.
So yeah, guys, thanks for
That's been a lot of
coming
fun.
on.
Thank you.
Can't believe we've got through 2 top 5s. Now. It's just like
It's a long one.
But no, thanks for coming, guys. I really do appreciate it. And to you listening, guys, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B podcast or on Instagram at M.T.V.B podcast, subscribe to and be notified when future episodes are available. This is Ant-Man, Stuart and Ross signing off.